Good afternoon and welcome to Eyes Up Mother Brown. You join us live from our various studios around the home counties and the East Midlands this afternoon as we get ready to give you alternative commentary on West Ham United versus Manchester United. Joining me this evening are Gnome and Rio and the absent Pink Palermo this afternoon. Do not let your eyes deceive you, my friends. The Pink Palermo is in the building. However, he is not in his seat this evening. Mr. Palermo, can you explain the situation there over in Brentwood Towers, please?
Yeah, it's a simple act of expressing solidarity with all the closed lounges at the London Stadium. So for those who aren't aware, the Bowling Bar, the Academy, the Forge and the Great Britain are all closed today, and none of those supporters who have tickets there were entered into the ballot where the lucky 2,000 got theirs from. So in solidarity, I have closed my own lounge at home today so as not to feel left out.
And there you have it, readers. So we are 4 tonight, but only 3 in person, and well, 4 in person, but of course Pinky explaining, of course, why he's not going to be sitting in his chair tonight. We may have to come back to you a bit later in the evening, Pinky, because I'm sure we'll get other people asking the same question as we go along. Anyway, enough of that. He is here. He's the man with the team sheets. We've got Rio, of course, is going to be keeping his eye on the forums as usual to let us know what our fans are thinking as the game progresses. Pinky may be keeping an eye on the Man United forums if he can see from where he's sitting at the moment, but we shall see later on. And of course, we have a little special treat for you this afternoon. Joining us live from the ground will be one of KUMB's members. Joining us from inside the stadium. Of course, 2,000 fans, or up to 2,000 fans, have been allowed to enter the ground this afternoon for today's game. So London Fields Hammer is going to be joining us hopefully a little bit later this afternoon on the broadcast to let us know how it's going in the stadium with what will almost certainly be a very, very strange atmosphere, you would think, with only 2,000 in that cavernous arena in which the two teams will play tonight. Anyway, without further ado, that's enough from me. Let's go over to our main man, our main man with the team sheets. Gnome, talk us through it. Manchester United and West Ham United, please, off you go.
Evening all. Well, not much in the way of surprises for us. We've heard Antonio is unfit, so it's a straight swap, Haller in for Antonio. So we line up Fabianski, Balbuena, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Kufal, Rice, Souček, Masuaku, Bowen, Fornals, and Haller. On the bench, we have Benrahma, Lanzini, Snodgrass, Noble, Diop, Johnson, and Randolph. Number of changes for the visitors, starting off in goal, where Henderson comes in for De Gea. Just seeing on the box there that De Gea hurt his knee last week at Southampton. It's flared up again, although he was fit for midweek. So Henderson in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Telles, McTominay, Pogba, Greenwood, Van der Beek, Martial, and Cavani. On the bench, they have Mata, Rashford, who's got a shoulder problem, hence not being selected, Grant, Bruno Fernandes, again suffering an unspecified knock, Matic, Williams, and Tuanzebe. Referee this afternoon is Andre Mariner. Over to you.
Thank you, Gnome. There you have it, this afternoon's team. Hello, Steve Palmer. You're first up in live chat on YouTube this afternoon, so good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a good day. We're going to go over to Rio now. Rio, we've heard the teams. Not really a great deal of change for West Ham. Of course, we know that Antonio is not available this afternoon, so Snodgrass has come into the side. Still no sign of Ryan Fredericks on the bench there, but we presume that's a tactical change. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing out there, buddy?
As you said, from us, there's no real surprises. Straight swap, Haller in for Antonio. The bench is as it is. I would like to see Yarmolenko on there, really. I know he's had his injury problems, but I think he has that different kind of option, that little bit of magic every now and then. As for United, I'm delighted by their news.
Yep.
Fernandes really makes them tick. He's been a revelation since he joined them. So I'm really glad at the moment he's not playing. Matic, an all good player. Obviously, we know what Rashford can do. The only concern is they've actually got a keeper in. De Gea's been awful for far too long, and Henderson must have been chomping at the bit. Now, they're saying it's a knee knock for De Gea. I don't think it is really. I just think Solskjaer's had enough. And after the way Henderson's performed for Sheffield United over the last 2 seasons out on loan, he's forced his way into the England setup.
Yeah.
He more than deserves his crack. I'm just a bit gutted it's today. I'd rather have seen it next week.
Yeah, what do you make of that change for the visitors with Fernandes being? I mean, as you said, he's been making them tick this season, hasn't he? Been a real danger to everyone he's come up against. What do you make of that decision to put him on the bench this afternoon? A little bit of weariness from midweek, perhaps.
I think so, and also he's got one eye on the Leipzig game next week, isn't he? Which they need to win to qualify next stage of the Champions League.
Okay.
I just think that he thinks he can cope against us without him. I'm not entirely convinced by that because I just think, as I said, he makes that whole team play. And for us, him being on the bench is a massive positive. Yeah, I just think there's a little bit of an eye on the European venture in a week. So I think that's the reason he's not starting tonight.
Okay, good stuff. And we always, when we're looking at the opposition, try and determine where the real threat is in terms of, a opposition forward is coming from. Who are we looking at here this afternoon? Martial, Greenwood, one of those?
For me, Cavani's reputation speaks for itself. He shouldn't be playing, but he's starting and, he's a real threat. But Martial always seems to knock a goal or two against us. And that's my biggest worry, Martial. His pace against possibly Creswell, it could expose us a little bit.
Okay, well, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But there you go, Rio's verdict of the two teams this afternoon. Let's ask the absent Pink Palermo what he thinks about it. Pinky, your view on West Ham first of all. As we said, no earth-shattering surprises out there. Really, Snodgrass, the only new face into the squad in place of Antonio. What do you make of what you're seeing out there today?
I think such is the lack of overall depth in key positions in our squad that the starting 11 pretty much picks itself most weeks. So the players that are actually in and have the shirt, who would tackle Rice for his shirt? There isn't anybody. Who's going to unseat Souček? There isn't anybody. And you just go throughout the team and you say no one's unsettling Ogbonna, no one's unsettling Fabianski, Kufal. So really, your Bowen, Fornals, really. I'm pleased that the manager's consistent because at least the players have an idea of what sort of shape we're going to play. For the opposition today, I actually think the main danger is going to come from a set piece and maybe a Harry Maguire, lucky header from a corner kick, that sort of thing. I think Solskjaer, in leaving out De Gea, and I'm sorry, I just don't believe any nonsense about an injury flaring up. He's been dropped. He's been dropped. He's been in an awful run of form for about a year and a half now. And that's the next sort of major problem that football club has. But for us, we'll see which Paul Pogba turns up. He's on screen at the minute. If he decides to play, he can cause some damage. If his head's right, he is a very good footballer. Number of years ago, when he was a youth team player at Manchester United, himself and Ravel Morrison were in the same team. And bizarrely at the time, it was Morrison who I thought was the better player. But incredible as though what I'm about to say, Pogba's turned out to be the slightly better professional, but only slightly better. But if he turns it on today, Pogba could hurt us.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that, isn't it? Paul Pogba, returned to Manchester United for that enormous fee, but he's sort of been in and out of the side. And, you get the feeling that there's something going on behind the scenes that, isn't quite right. We hear the constant stories about him wanting to leave. But as you say, a fantastic footballer on his day. I can't recall actually, Pinky, him ever having a really strong game against us in the past. Don't know if that's just my memory.
And you know, it's. I suspect, you know, it's a game in London. I'll be interested to see what Solskjaer says to the players afterwards. Do they travel back together, or do they all have fast cars to take them home after a night in London doing something? Maybe Solskjaer's got lucky with everything being closed, but Pogba, for me, you know, he owes Manchester United big time. Let's not muck around. They paid top dollar for him. He hasn't delivered. And yet the other side of the coin, you know, Van der Beek, who's been a model professional since he's been there, and tonight's what, his third start of the season. So
really,
yeah. Who knows what goes through Solskjaer's mind in terms of selection?
Well, we shall see if he's got it right tonight, won't we, before too long. West Ham United versus Manchester United, this afternoon's Premier League clash from the London Olympic Stadium. We are going to be going very, very shortly live to the London Olympic Stadium with Knees Up Mother Brown's on-the-spot reporter this afternoon, our fellow member London Fields Hammer, who's going to be telling us what it's like. But before we do that, I'm going to jump back to Gnome quickly, who, of course, brought us the teams, just to ask you, Gnome, for your thoughts on both teams this afternoon. You know, who do you see as Manchester United's biggest danger, and anything you're expecting different from David Moyes this afternoon?
I'm not expecting anything different from us. Manchester United this season, from what I've seen of them, blow hot and cold. You know, they've let in 6 at home to Tottenham, and you know, the first half against Southampton last week, which I did watch. They looked as if it looked like Pogba wasn't the only one who wanted to play. But you know, let's see what. This is an unfamiliar side, lots of changes. So let's see which lot turns up.
We shall indeed. We shall indeed. And thank you, guys, for your summaries there, your pre-match summaries. We're about 10 minutes away from kickoff now. And we are actually, as you can probably see, those of you that are joining us on the stream, as you can see, we have our man on the inside, ready to come on and say hello. London Fields Hammer, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great, Graham. This is absolutely freaky. This is the most amazing game I've ever been to. It's like being on drugs, I'm afraid. It's a completely surreal experience.
Take your word for it.
I can just show you a little bit.
Yes, please do. Show us around, and that is that. Yeah, it's.
So I'm actually only about 10 seats away from where I normally sit in the Billy Bonds.
Okay.
And my son's here, but he's got to sit 2 meters away from me.
Can you show us your son?
What's that?
Right. Can you show us your son? Can he give us a little wave from his seat? Whereabouts is he?
Bill, Isaac.
There he is. There you go. Okay. Yeah. Good to see you both. Hey, buddy. How you doing? So, of course, you are
completely freaky. It's really weird. The only thing I can compare it to, Graham, is I went to the AstraZeneca game away, and there were only 150 Hammers there. Well, there's a lot more here tonight, but it's really, really good to be back. I never thought I'd call this place home, but it does feel really, really good to be back.
Yeah, well, we're delighted that you're able to join us this afternoon. Can I call you by your real name? Is that okay, or would you prefer me to call you by your username?
Yeah, call me Charlie. It's all right. It's fine. Yeah.
Brilliant. Charlie's so much easier than London Fields Hammer. It tends to slip off the tongue a little bit easier. Charlie, of course, is our man there, as you can see on the inside. Charlie, what was the procedure like actually getting into the ground? Was it quite, a prolonged process, or were you straight through?
No, it's a bit like, I don't know if you've ever taken a plane recently, but it's smooth as you like. You get through very quickly. For once, it's brilliantly organised. Everyone's very friendly. It's very easy. There's not a lot of hassle. It's weird. I'm probably more spaced out here than if I took a tube journey. It's very sensible, very, very calm. It's just fucking weird because there's not a lot of noise. Not yet.
Good stuff. Well, of course, we're relying on you to make it. I think you're going to have to be about 30 times louder than usual this evening, if my rudimentary maths are correct, to make any kind of influence on the game. But Charlie, of course, for those who are coming in late to the stream, good to see you, Dan. Dan's just saying hello. Thanks for joining us, Dan. Charlie is going to be keeping an eye on the game for us inside the stadium. We're going to go and chat with Charlie at various points throughout the afternoon. And of course, you know, if there's anything contentious, he's going to give us hopefully his view of what's going on, and of course, you know, really what's happening throughout the afternoon. So we're gonna perhaps chat with Charlie a couple of times during the first half, maybe at halftime and again at the final whistle, if that's okay with you, Charlie. If we can drag you away from the match that's occurring in front of you. For the record, we cannot, for legal reasons, show what is occurring on the pitch, which is why Charlie has got the camera faced on him and the stands behind him. But Charlie, if you could, can you just show us again around? So as you can see there, folks, it's a very eerie atmosphere, I would imagine, and a very strange experience for those 2,000 or so supporters that are gathered together in the stands there. Gentlemen, Gnome, Rio, Pinky, have any of you guys got any questions you'd like to throw at Charlie before we start? Gnome, first of all?
Just a quick one, Charlie. How did you get to the ground tonight?
I went by the usual, by my bicycle, because I live so close.
Oh, right, okay.
And it was really weird.
What it was like, and if it just
really weird.
Busy.
Good stuff. Rio, any questions for Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie, just what's the general feeling like out there with the fans? I mean, it's a really weird and surreal situation to be in a stadium that big with so little people. How's everyone else been?
I think at the moment people are just in a sort of, it's like they've been beamed down from another planet. So everyone's just surprised they're here, you know. I think everyone's, it's actually quite moving, Rio. You know, it's quite weird. Yeah. It's quite weird and quite moving. But I can't wait for the fucking game to start.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rio. Pinky, any question for Charlie before we move on?
Yeah, Charlie, can you confirm that all the seats behind the dugout and all the rest of it, either side of it, and back towards the middle tier, are all empty, please?
Yeah. The only bit they're using is the lower bit of the Billy Bonds. The rest of it's all cut off, you know, apart from, you know, the press people and stuff like that.
And do the calls.
There's nobody in the West Stand.
Well, just in the boxes. There's a few in the boxes, and then there's a few media people, but the rest of it's completely empty. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers. Thanks.
It's very weird.
I've got to say, the East Stand looks about as full as normal. You know, I think promise us.
All right, speak to you later.
5, everyone's walking out in 65 minutes.
Cheers, Charlie.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. I'll give you a shout at some point in the first half, and we'll chat again then. Charlie, coming live from the London Olympic Stadium, our man on the inside this afternoon. How about that? The first game, of course, this season that West Ham United fans have been allowed into a game, and we have our man on the inside there who's going to be chatting to us throughout the evening about what's going on down there. We are about 3 or 4 minutes away from kickoff. By my estimations, my stream will no doubt be behind everybody else's this afternoon. So please forgive us if we don't all celebrate in unison should West Ham United score. Hello to Polaroid, who's also joining us on the stream. Before we kick off, let's have a quick look round the forums just to see what the general mood is around there. Rio, you're keeping your eye on the KUMB forum for us on the match for this afternoon. What's the general view? Is everybody optimistic out there today?
Yeah, pretty much so. We're on 15 pages already before the game started. And yeah, it is, I'd say 99% positive. Everyone feels that this Man United side are there for the taking. We know that if you look deep down beyond certain home results for them, their away form has been terrific, and they're only 3 points off the top 4. But there's an air of vulnerability, and people are really, really upbeat and positive that we can pull something off here. General thing is Tristan shouts just put Cavani up front, should be banned for racist remarks. That's him to score. Put your mortgage on it. And that's the only kind of downer I've got at the moment. Everyone else, absolutely spot on positivity.
We should touch on that, I think, briefly because it was brought up. What's your view on that, Rio? Do you think Cavani should have been banned for that post on social media, or do you think it's just a bit of a just a bit overblown, really?
It's the modern world, isn't it? You have to be incredibly careful what you do, what you post. I know it's probably a cultural thing for him, coming from the South American background, but you just don't take the risk, do you? Professional footballers in the public eye really should know better than to carry on with that kind of those kind of opinions in public.
So, in your opinion, he shouldn't be playing tonight?
Yeah, I'd actually say he shouldn't be playing. Not just because he's playing against us.
Okay, thanks, Rio. No, what do you think on that very quickly, the Cavani situation?
I'm not quite, maybe not as up to date with everybody, but have the FA have we had the due process yet? Because the FA, I think the normal thing is they ask for his comments and then announce whether or not there's going to be a charge. I mean, if they've ever asked for his comments and they've said no problem, carry on, then I think that's wrong. I don't think he should be banned tonight if we're still going through the normal legal, if you like, quasi-legal process. I think he will end up getting banned because he's in an identical situation to Bernardo Silva last year, who posted an innocent cartoon character from a chocolate wrapper and aimed that at a good mate of his who took absolutely no offence at all. That was a one-match ban. Since then, the FA have updated their guidelines for this sort of thing, and it's a minimum 3 matches. That should probably be the case, those being the rules, but not until they've had a chance to actually do the hearing. I'm assuming that they just haven't got around to it yet. I mean, it's been a busy week. They've had Europe, so you can understand why it hasn't happened yet.
Okay. But, fair enough. But so in your view, because the precedent has been set, then the FA have kind of got no choice really but to issue a ban eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same really as Silva last year. Equally as innocent or guilty, whichever way you look at it.
Sure. Okay.
Players have taken the knee on my feed, by the way, and we've kicked off. Should we just do a quick time check because I'm just to make sure I'm on the same time thing as everybody when they put the clock up. And I've got a clock coming up now when they've finished advertising everything. Right, I'm 17 seconds in.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, okay. So last week, for some reason, the UHD stream was a few seconds behind, so I've caught up with you again.
Okay, good stuff. As usual, I'm about 25 seconds behind everyone else, so that's good. It means I can watch the replays when I know what's coming. Pinky, just very quickly, your view on the Cavani situation?
I think football's digging a massive hole for itself because it's banned for this, but don't ban for that. I think it needs to be very, very careful.
Ooh,
and the
dangerous ball in
is the players actually, every single one of them put a statement on all their social media accounts that they are private views and nothing to do with any of their clubs or employers. On that basis, if a player breaks the law in anything they tweet or post, then the appropriate authorities can deal with it. But I think there's a grave danger that we're asking football authorities to turn into judge, jury, and executioner on what are emotive and sometimes quite difficult topics.
Thank you. Excellent, gentlemen. Thank you for your response to that. I know it's a difficult situation. It's not involving West Ham, but just wanted to get your views on it, really. No, decent start this for West Ham.
Yeah, very bright. Bowen's been heavily involved. Had a shot that was partially blocked. Fornals tried to slip in and put the loose ball away. Henderson blocking to make the save. Bowen eventually got another shot in, but couldn't get the curl on it, so it went out for a goal kick. But bright start from West Ham. And Bowen getting some good space down on our right-hand side.
Yeah, very much so. Very encouraging start. Rio, we want to see plenty more of that, don't we?
Absolutely. As Gnome said, Bowen's been very bright down the right. Declan's already made a couple of really timely interceptions and set up a couple of attacks. Balbuena stepped in with that little bit of sustained pressure we had a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
It started with Balbuena stepping up, blocking the ball, playing the ball out down the right to Bowen. And yeah, everyone looks a bit comfortable at the moment. Just like to point out on the forum, got a couple of comments. It's all to do with the crowd being back in the ground. Oz support. Well done to the fans. Great to hear Bubbles being sung. WC Pete's put, fans did a great job with Bubbles, with the muffler and the mask on as well. What times we live in. And also Ray's Rock has put, he found that slightly emotional. And yeah, I've got to agree with him, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was a bit apprehensive about if I'd have got a ticket today, would I enjoy it as much? With so few people about and not being able to do your match day routine and meeting up with people before and after the game. But yeah, I just think one chorus of Bubbles, I would have been blabbing like a baby.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Yeah, it must be. It's quite a thing. I mean, what are we now? 9 months, Pinky, since we were last in a stadium. It is, isn't it? 9 months now.
Yeah, it is, and I'll make no bones about it. I am bitterly disappointed, firstly, to have been excluded from the ballot, because if you actually look there, if they're only using the Billy Bond stand, that means supporters are most probably have been allocated those seats rather than there being their normal seat. And I'd be interested to find out if that is the case. Because if it is the case, why were the people from the corporate lounges that I named earlier excluded from that ballot? It seems inherently unfair. I'm very pleased for those that have got a ticket. Good luck to them. But most people on the forum would know I'm a home and awayer. I absolutely hate missing games. And I will tell you here and now, there's not a chance I'd have been sitting in front of a TV if there'd been a ticket available for me tonight. So I'm disappointed. Pleased for those that have gone, though, and I hope they enjoy their evening.
4.5 minutes gone. Thank you, Pinky. West Ham United, nil. Manchester United, nil. West Ham have had a fairly strong start. We're quite enthused, I think, by what we've seen so far. David Moyes, we've seen just going out to kick the ball. Hasn't got a particularly good record against the bigger teams in the division, so we'll be hoping to up his percentage rate this evening with another win. Of course, West Ham the opportunity. We've not said this yet, have we? West Ham the opportunity to go third. No, is it this evening if we win?
Somewhere else, somewhere other than where we are at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we didn't jinx it last week, so I'm kind of hoping that we're going to be all right again this week. But West Ham, of course, this could be a fourth successive win, Rio, if we can pull this one out of the bag tonight. Manchester United just starting to get back into the game a little bit, though.
Yeah, it's expected, isn't it? They're going to come at us a little bit. They're going to try and test us as much as they possibly can. The thing that I'm really finding off-putting about the whole thing at the moment is Man United's kit, which is woefully zebra-like and dreadful, and it's demoralising at the moment. But yeah, so I don't know. I think Paul Pogba must have designed it because it's got him written all over it, hasn't it? It is rank.
I think it's designed by a Premier League referee, because nobody with decent eyesight would ever come up with that. The other thing is, of course, the seats being in the lower tier white, there's a little bit of camouflage going on there. You know, at one point, if they turn their back, the shirt is basically white. And then they turn around, you get this sort of Second World War, they used to have ships that were designed like that, called them dazzle ships, which were camouflaged in with the sea. And, it's I might have to change my glasses.
Excellent.
It's encouraging knowing that you've still got good memories of the Second World War at your age. It's positive news.
You told me about
for those who enjoy early 80s electronica, of course, will be aware that Dazzle Ships was the name of an Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark album. Very popular album, but we're really going off on a tangent now. So let's get back to the game. About 7 minutes gone, Gnome, apart from that early shot from Jarrod Bowen, none others so far, but West Ham beginning to exert a little bit of pressure again now.
It's fairly even at the moment. Manchester United enjoying a lot of possession, as the way we play on the counter you'd expect, but nothing. I don't think the ball's been anywhere near Fabianski in the 7 minutes odd that we've played. It's settling down into a pattern that we kind of expect. Manchester United, a lot of the ball, a lot of going backwards and forwards across. Nothing penetrating, for want of a better word. So yeah, sort of fairly even so far. Apart from the early efforts from Bowen and Fornals there, that's really been the only sort of efforts on goal or attacking intent from either side. You'll just get an idea. Manchester United just gained a free kick on the halfway line, and instantly it's gone back. So again, they're not really sort of pushing us at the moment, and we're sort of happy to relax and pick off the ball as we've just done now. Ball goes down right, and Bowen's in on goal. No flag. Bowen's in. He's
get in.
I think the flag may have gone up eventually.
Late flag.
He was miles offside. In fact, I'm close to being onside here.
Jared Bowen.
It's about a yard off, but it was just the fact that nobody stopped for that one. When it's that far offside, you expect the flag to go up fairly quickly. It's only when there might be a bit of doubt that they're supposed to let play go on. So that was a little bit of the Lino teasing us there, I think, really.
9 minutes, just under 9 minutes gone. West Ham have the ball in the back of the net, but it doesn't count. Jared Bowen, who's looked a real live wire so far, Pinky, putting the ball in the back of the net, and it hasn't counted. It's clearly offside. No need for VAR on that one, but encouraging signs for the Hammers nonetheless.
Well, most encouraging for me is the intensity with which we're playing. It's chalk and cheese compared with last week. It really is. We're actually pressing. There's a bit of bite in the tackle. This is a vastly improved West Ham United performance already compared with last week. The only downside that I'm seeing tonight thus far is we are losing the glove count. There are 3 West Ham United players wearing gloves and only 2 Manchester United wearing gloves. And that to me is always a demerit. So Pablo Fornals, Arthur Masuaku and Angelo Ogbonna, you had better play well tonight, lads, because do you know what? When you glove up, it don't impress me.
It doesn't impress Pinky much. But just for sake of completion there, Pinky, who are the 2 Man United lads who've got gloves on?
Pogba and Marshall, I think.
It's always the foreign lads, isn't it? Rio, what is it about these foreign lads? They do like a glove, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to expect it a little bit. I mean, Pablo's, for example, Paul Pogba's been sunning himself in Turin before he rejoined Man United. Pablo's Spanish. Where do a lot of our British people disappear to during the winter when it gets a bit nippy? We're straight over to bloody Spain. So it's got to be a bit of a culture shock, isn't it, coming over here, playing in the middle of London Stadium, middle of December, gets a bit nippy. Because actually the London Stadium concourse behind the Bobby Moore stand is probably the 3rd coldest place I've ever been in my life. It is absolutely freezing up there. Yeah. My mate made me go for a beer after the game once. Like, I'm very loath to do it, but we went had a beer back of the concourse, and it was like, it's a knockout. I spilt the beer so much, I was shaking that much. I think I had about that much left at the end of it. It is absolutely bitter. So no wonder these lot wearing gloves. I'm just surprised no one else is.
I'm intrigued now.
Henderson and Fabianski are.
Yep. Yeah, of course. So 7 out of the 22, in fact. But Rio, I'm intrigued now. You said it was the 3rd coldest place you've ever been. What were 1 and 2?
Number 2 was Leighton Orient on a really bitter. Oh, we've gone on the attack again here. Leighton Orient in a cup game. I think it was 87. It might have been New Year's Day. But yeah,
it wasn't the game we pinched 1-0, was it?
I think it was the 1-1. We took them to a replay.
1-1, yes, sorry. 1-1, yes.
But the coldest place on earth, and this is official, Portsmouth. The wind whipping off.
No, I'm not having that. Sunderland away, about a decade ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Saturday afternoon game, unusually. And I swear, my mate Nobby was crying. He was so cold. It was so cold, he was crying. This is a grown.
I remember that one.
Same thing as Portsmouth.
I'm sitting there at half time, and I got a text message from one of the lads I've got up with. It was Big Chav's text message. Says, I've got a beer for you down in the concourse. So I went back down there, and I got handed this cold plastic pint of lager, and I've never been so disappointed to be given a beer. It was like, I don't want this. Oh, yeah, nice cold beer. Yeah, cheers.
I've got to say, Rio, on the Portsmouth thing, I remember going there on the opening day of the season. It must have been 1987, 88. We won 2-0, and everybody in the away end came away with a suntan from that afternoon. So couldn't be further away from your experience, I guess. But do let us know, folks. Do let us know what the coldest you've ever been at a football ground. Hobo says the Britannia Stadium, Stoke. It's a cold hole, he says. So do let us know where you've been frozen at the football pitch and wishing you were in somewhere a little bit warmer. No, over to you.
Oh,
yeah, you'll realise from all this that there's not an awful lot happening in the game at the moment.
Yes.
When last I spoke about the game, it was Manchester United keeping possession, not doing very much with it. They're keeping possession and not doing very much with it again. Having said that, long ball played, but Ogbonna's awake to it, and we've. Well, I think that might be. Yeah, no, I'm sure if that's gone out for a throw-in or not. It has. Yeah.
Just on that point of can the foreign lads do it on a cold night on Tuesday in Stoke? I heard an interesting one in the week, and this is the Van der Beek link. 1967, Ajax actually went along to Stoke City on I think a Tuesday night, and beat them I think 1-0 in a team containing none other than a young Johan Cruyff. So he proved he could do it on a cold Tuesday night in Stoke.
Fantastic. Love that. So at least one Dutchman could do it. Let's hope another one can't tonight. I really don't want to labour the point of gloves and things like that, but here's your start for 10. Who was it who wore tights for Leicester and amused everyone on Match of the Day?
Keith Weller.
Keith Weller. There you go. What was the year? 76, 77?
Yeah, I think he passed away maybe a year or two ago now. Somebody will hopefully update me on that one. Cavani, meanwhile, has picked up the ball here. It looked a little bit offside there. And he's backheeled it to nobody in particular anyway. So we clear the ball away. And Haller seems to be more awake. Two Man United players left it to each other, and Haller nipped in. And we're now on the attack. Bowen down the right wing, looking for support, and gets it all swung in there by Kufal, and it's gone all the way across to Masuaku, who he gets the ball back, lays it out wide to Cresswell, tries to get a cross in. It's blocked, and Manchester United bring the ball away. All but intercepted by Rice, and we're back on the attack again. Masuaku puts the ball in. Haller's got the Haller was held there, and he's well, Haller I thought was held there, and then the defender sort of clattered into him, and as seems to be the referees want, I've got to blow up for something, so I'll give the free kick against Haller. So have a look. Yeah, he's held back. The two players sort of both stick a leg out of the ball. Well, back on the attack again, and we just don't manage to keep hold of the ball for long enough. But a promising couple of minutes there, but Souček's given away a free kick now, and the Manchester United player seems to be in absolute agony, and we may be having a minute's silence for this because he looks in so much. There's nothing in that. It's a foul, but
he's got the full Grealish there.
Yeah, he has, isn't he? I mean, it's intensive care. Oh, he's always back up. It's a miracle.
Amazing.
Amazing. Who is that? McTominay wearing the coveted number 39 shirt. I think possibly what happened was as he went down, he had a look at the shirt he was wearing, and it caused some sort of blinding flashback. But he's fine now, and
there you go.
We're back underway.
17 minutes gone. West Ham United 0, Manchester United 0, and in solidarity with Angelo, Pablo, and Arthur. Come on, you Irons. Bizarre, Pinky, just having a look at the I'm just watching the crowd there. It looks very bizarre. It doesn't look like a football crowd. It looks like more like the sort of crowd you'd see at the Crucible watching the Snooker World Cup final. Everyone's sitting there very politely and calmly.
You're not suggesting they've been handpicked by Karen, are you? compliant, obedient only need apply. I'm sure that's not the case, and I'm sure there's plenty of loyal supporters there. It's just that when you're in a thinned out area, there's probably a tendency to behave yourself a little bit more or differently. I think they've all been told they've got to stay seated anyway. I think that's one of the conditions. They're supposed to wear masks and what have you. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it looks a bit like, I don't know, dare I say, an Eagles concert. That's how I'd imagine an Eagles concert would be. Maybe 2 minutes from the end, they're going to play Hotel California and they'll all get up and cheer or something. Because that's what it looks like to me, something of that nature.
Is
first
that
corner
like?
of the game, guys.
Go on.
To Manchester United. Good move down the right for Manchester United right there. I think it was Martial got the shot in. Yeah. It took a deflection. Wasn't the most powerful of shots. But the corner's just been taken. It's been taken sort of pulled back short. Ball's now crossed in. And well, it's all the way back to the halfway line now as Manchester United try to rebuild the attack. And it's played down the right hand. For a minute, I thought they were going to try and let that run out because it wasn't going to go, but we've cleared it and it's taken a flick off somebody, West Ham throw. So not much of a corner, and no need to really lose any sleep over it.
One thing we stressed last week, Rio, when we were talking about the Villa game, is how little Declan Rice and Thomas Souček were involved in that game. Couldn't really get into it, could they, at all? The game seemed to bypass them for much of it. Seemed to be a lot more involved in the action this afternoon, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. There've been some meaty challenges put in. They've been involved regularly. Declan's made 3 or 4 timely interceptions. Souček's been more prominent in the 19 minutes of this game than he has been for the last 2 or 3. It's great to see. And I just think, I've always said, we kind of play to the level of our opposition, And although it's not the greatest Man United side, they're still full of internationals. They're a Champions League team. But our players are stepping up to mark and they're making themselves known and they're putting themselves about a bit, not letting them rest one little bit. And so it's great to see Declan and Tom do so well and get involved and be up for it, because they've looked really quiet the last 2 games. It's not like them at all.
Good to see you. We are 20 minutes in. As we said, Declan Rice and Thomas Souček absolutely instrumental for West Ham so far this season. Pretty quiet the other night, but good to see them getting a lot more involved so far tonight. Anyway, Pinky, just having a look now. I mean, we've seen, we're almost. No, not you.
Just suffering there because good interception work, and then Masuaku fed Fornals. Cresswell to Masuaku to Fornals. Looked up. Bowen had acres of space in the middle, and Fornals looked for him, and the ball was cut out. It was it's a shame that, because it was a good little move. And the whole thing's broken down again now. It's a Manchester United throw, level with the penalty area. But it's one of those ones where you see the ball, Fornals has seen the ball, and just another foot either side, and we could be 1-0 up there. So frustrating.
Yes, I was just going to say, Jared cutting a frustrated figure there as he hurls his head back and looks to the sky and thinks, what if, as Gnome said there, the ball had been just another foot or so either side of the defender. It's still West Ham United 0, Manchester United 0. We're rapidly approaching the halfway point of the first half. West Ham perhaps had the better of it in front of goal, but do let us know what you're thinking about the game on the.
Big mistake by Declan Rice there. He got caught in possession of the wrong part of the field, and Donny van der Beek picks the ball up into Marshall, back to van der Beek. And okay, we've got the men back now, but Cavani there did some great work to dispossess Declan Rice in a dangerous area. Sorry, Graham.
No, thank you, Pinky, for coming in. It's something we've seen, isn't it, with Declan over the last few weeks, Pinky, been absolutely outstanding, but it still has that propensity to make, give the ball away in dangerous areas on occasion.
Dare I say it, occasionally he forgets he's playing against other players who happen to be very good as well. And a player like Cavani, okay, he's in the twilight of his career, but he 100% knows the job. I mean, being no doubt about it. You know, Solskjaer would have breathed a huge sigh of relief that he was available for selection today. But in general terms, I think we've done well here tonight. I think the change in manager's instruction is really what we're seeing. I think last week against Villa, they were told to stand off players. That's why we saw so little from Rice and Souček. And frankly, we look bloody awful. Tonight, it's a case of get stuck into them. And
it's a Man United corner anyway, just about to be taken. Sorry, Pinky, just get the corner in. Comes in from their right, not a very good corner. Masuaku clears. Came from a decent move down the left-hand side, dangerous looking ball in, and Ogbonna cleared it over the bar. Ball's back out on the right-hand side with, I think that's Martial. Cross finally comes in. Ogbonna's there, clears long.
Oh, that could have been the great Alvin Martin in his prime, the way he cleared that off his tweed. Oh, I mean, Angelo, I'm growing to love you, mate.
I'm sure the feeling's mutual, Pinky.
Yeah, I mean, just expanding Rio on what Pinky was saying there tactically. What are you seeing different from West Ham so far tonight? You know, as opposed to last week against Villa.
It's an intensity. We've been playing a much more frenetic place. There's much more work rate. The onus is not on us to break them down, really, like as we have done the last 2 or 3 games. It's been down to us to break teams down. And as we know, we've not been that accomplished at doing that over the last season or 2. Yeah, we can hit more on a counter, and it's down to our work rate to disrupt their flow of play, steal the ball from them, then hit on the break. And that suits us down to the ground. So they're kind of playing into our hands, really. So I just think it's a different impetus compared to playing against smaller teams where we're expected to go at them and break them down.
Okay. Free kick to Manchester United there, played in again. Ogbonna's up to it, clears. We've got the ball deep in our territory. We're trying to work it out now. Cresswell and Masuaku. Masuaku finds Fabianski, who clears long out onto the left. The possession for Manchester United is just beginning to turn into pressure. That's got to be handball, and it is. I was just going to say it's just turning into a little bit of pressure, but Martial sort of went and messed that up for him by just basically catching the ball effectively. He's called it down by his side, and then when the whistle's gone, had a front three to look a little bit innocent. So, that looks like a hand as well.
We are 20.
I'm just flabbergasted. It looks like, is it Maguire number 5? Yeah, has just stuck his hand out to control the ball, and surely be it God somebody's. That linesman who's only 2 foot away has spotted that. Oh, that's annoying if anything comes of that, because Manchester United now brought the ball away and are on the attack. It's lovely interception from Balbuena.
Interesting that one. No, a couple of claims from Bowen and Kufal for handball, but sort of a bit half-hearted, a bit like when you see one of those LBW appeals that only the wicket keeper goes up for.
Oh no, it did look like. I mean, I've only seen it once, and in real time, that looked like he stuck his hand out to control it. Now, if they showed a replay and I'll see it again, it might have hit him somewhere completely different. It didn't look like it.
We've just seen
we're on the move at the moment. Haller finds Fornals, who gets robbed. So Fornals wins it back, but look to get caught there. The referee's not given anything, so we've got to play on. Martial trying to find an opening down the middle, plays it out wide to Telles. Again, it's same old thing. It's going across, but it's going across a little bit nearer our goal than it was earlier on, which is perhaps a little bit concerning.
On that point, last point, no, I'm talking about the potential handball. Connor Green posting on the YouTube live chat says the Dazzle ship's got to the lino there. So someone else who's obviously in agreement with you, but no, it definitely did look like a handball, but just a shame there wasn't more of an appeal. Pinky, we've just seen a couple of moments ago, we saw a really good interception from Mr. Balbuena, who a lot of people on the KUMB forum this week have been contemplating offering a new contract to, or at least would do if they were in control of the club. What's your view on that one?
I'd hesitate, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's doing okay at the minute because we're setting a system up to compensate for a number of players' deficiencies.
Yeah.
But I think if we really want to advance up this league, we need players that can adapt and contribute in different systems and different shapes. You know, it's taken nothing away from the way he's played this season. He's done fine, but I'm not sure I'll be offering a new deal to him.
Yeah, he's certainly, for a £4 million man, I think you can safely say we've had our value for money anyway, at least.
Absolutely. I wouldn't dispute that. But there comes a point where we're looking at our defensive lineup and we're saying, well, Angelo is 33 now, so we might get another year of him at the top level, but after that, he's going to start to fade quite quickly.
Yeah,
I would suggest we need to be in the market for a couple of really good centre backs in the not too distant future.
Good stuff. And of course, unfortunately, if you've been keeping your eye on the Knees Up Mother Brown forum this week, one of the rumours that is, of course, circulating at the moment, not surprisingly, perhaps given the circumstances, is that David Moyes is unlikely to have any transfer funds to spend in January, something that seems to be coming from within the club there. Rio, are we surprised at all by that?
I've had bigger surprises. I can't think what, but we predicted this. Was it back in August when we started doing the pods and stuff like that?
Yeah.
We just knew this was coming. So it is of no shock whatsoever. I know there's the rumour of the young lad, is it Danish lad coming in?
Yeah, Ibsen.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's the only one we buy. Really wouldn't. I mean, it might be a loan for a striker, but we ain't spending big if we spend at all.
Yes, it's certainly looking that way. It's also got a little bit quiet again, Gnome, hasn't it? Where we're just approaching the half-hour mark. I mean, we had a little spell where Manchester United, looked like they might be getting on top, but nothing really doing. Just a quick look on the stats, Gnome. Interestingly, possession-wise, West Ham 29% so far, to Manchester United's 71%. Yet shots, West Ham have had 3 to Manchester United's 1. So once again, showing that the possession stat really doesn't matter at all.
Arthur was in a good position, but didn't have the confidence. Cross comes in from Arthur. I think that's taken it. Yeah, it's taken a flick, and I think that's a corner. I don't mind Man United having much possession, because we know we're good on the counter. What I would like to do is see us move the ball quicker on the counter. We've been a bit ponderous, perhaps, from time to time, but we've got our first corner now. It's on our left-hand side. Fornals is teeing it up, so we'll take you through that. Short corner play to Cresswell. Fornals puts the cross in. Bonner was at the back post, but it was blocked before it got to him. Headed back in, and the ball comes through to Henderson, quite harmless. So, as you were, but I have to say, this has not been a good game, really.
Yeah.
I'm just watching that little passage of play now, and if Souček hadn't got quite so much on that header, then Fornals might have been in. But really, I wouldn't even dignify it by saying it's a half chance, maybe a quarter chance or an eighth.
Yeah, but good stuff from West Ham. Our first corner of the afternoon. It's taken 30 minutes.
It's on the run now. A lovely run from Bowen down the right hand side. Ball's played in.
Oh!
Side netting. It's one of those side netting goals. Sorry,
Mr. Pinky. Closest West Ham have come yet to scoring.
Yeah, I think so. Brilliant individual work by Jared Bowen. Talk about a star man playing on the right. He skins the United lad, sends a lovely cross across, and Pablo Fornals, who has taken his gloves off, I'm delighted to say, heads into the side netting. But perhaps he should have scored there, because that was a beautiful cross sent in by Bowen. We're on the move
again. Souček, Bowen has an effort, and it's gone high and wide. Sorry, Pinky. Yeah.
We're looking good here this evening, and I'm not a big fan of possession stats and things like that. I think we've won a few times this season already with the very low 30s in terms of possession. It's what you do with the ball that matters. Until which end, one of the best comments I saw in the forum all week came from Bubbles 1966 about Aston Villa, and he said they were very good all over the pitch, apart from the two ends that mattered, which is the box at either end. And you know, he nailed them absolutely with that. You know, and it's, you know, you've got to be good where it counts. So I'm here tonight. I'm just reading through the Red Cafe forum, Manchester United forum, and they started out before kick-off with real confidence comments like Van der Beek and Pogba will monster the midfield and they'll control the game and all the rest of it. And within half an hour, it's turned into Ollie's on thin ice and let's look forward to the Leipzig game and all that sort of nonsense. They are giving their team pelters at the minute and not impressed at all.
You beat me to it, Pink. I was just about to come to you, and it struck me that we hadn't had a look at the fan forums yet to see what was going on. So Pinky, of course, as he's just pointed out, they're keeping an eye on Red Cafe, which is one of the premier most popular Manchester United forums, has been for many, many years. Of course, still the most popular West Ham United forum is KUMB.com, knees up Mother Brown, where we all hail from. Of course, we're going to say that anyway. But Rio, as always, is keeping an eye on that one. Rio, what's the verdict so far with just over a third of the game played?
Yeah, everyone's kind of happy with how things are going at the moment. A lot of optimism still. There's a couple of things been mentioned. As I say that, my bloody iPad plays up. There we go. Sorry about this.
No worries, no worries. I should just say, while you're doing that, Rio, we've just seen Pogba limping away, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But back to the comments, Rio.
Yeah, that's now because commented. This is a couple of pages back, but I think it's worth mentioning. On the commentary, his feed remarked on the commentator on his feed remarked.
Oh, lovely work from Bowen. Played the ball in. Haller fed Fornals. Fornals got a little toe poke on it. Henderson was beaten all ends up, but it came back off the post and into his arms. It's a lovely work from Bowen. Lovely crossfield run. Squared the ball in. Haller held it up well. It was just a little toe prod, and an inch away from being 1-0 up there. Complete nutmeg as well from Van Bissaka, straight through Van Bissaka's legs. And, you know, it's not been a good game, not been the greatest of chances either way, but what chances there have been really have been ours. We've hit the post, you know, we've had Fornals heading wide. As Manchester United now play a free kick long outright right, and that's delaying the cross, played back to the edge of the box, and that's possibly the first shot on target, I think, from Manchester United.
It is, yeah.
Pogba's side foot, just basically, I think that may have been the first time that Fabianski's touched the ball with his hands. I'm struggling to remember a save.
Could well be. Could well be.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Gnome. So close. Pablo Fornals, a little toe poke. Henderson beaten. And it's one of those, you know, even with the rebound, it could have gone anywhere, couldn't it? But straight back into a grateful goalkeeper's hands. And when you get the rub of the green, I guess, you know, you can thank your lucky stars on those occasions. Rio, you were just taking us through the forum quickly there. Let's jump back in there very quickly before we come back to the game.
Yep, sorry, I've got everything back as well. Yeah, that's not just put commentary on my feed has just remarked there can't be too many players who Moyes hasn't improved, and that's an excellent point. And I completely agree with as well. WCP, I'm loving the work rate, winning the 50-50s, winning the midfield battles, keep it going. Webmaster FF agrees with us on the Man United kit. Have the Manx broken it in Chester Zoo and skin the zebras? We started off well. Haller's we seem to be sitting back a bit now and letting them get into the game a bit more. Fornals' ball was too low down.
Haller's put a cross in far post and it's brought down there. It's Bowen again, strangely on the left, and gets a shot in. It gets blocked away, presumably for a corner. But that was a lovely touch from Haller. Took out Maguire, went down the right, played the ball long to the far post, and so look, Wan-Bissaka gets the block in. So corner to West Ham on West Ham left. Just waiting for that to come in. If you want to stick with me.
Yep, let's do that.
Last 10 minutes, by the way, it's been pretty much all us. It's and we've looked more positive going forward than the opponents. So, but anyway, we're just looking for it now.
Okay.
Corner swung
coming up.
It's in from Souček. And what a great goal!
It's been coming. It's West Ham United 1, Manchester United 0. Mr. Palermo, talk us through that goal, please.
I'm trying to remember it actually, but basically I think it was a corner kick that came in. I don't know who played it on, but at the far
post, Rice got the header. I think.
It's Rice. Yeah.
Let's just see. Yes. So outswinging corner, Rice heads it, and Souček coming in at the far stick buries it. Yeah. Great goal. Terrific goal.
Well deserved, and no, we said it's been coming, hasn't it? Last 10 minutes, West Ham top.
Last 5 minutes, it has. I did say just before the corner, it's been all us. We've looked at the more positive side going forward, and Hawaiian shirts being shown celebrating there, and but no, it's good. As I say, it's last 10 minutes or so. I think we've deserved that on the strength of that because we've been more positive. For all the possession they've had, it's been going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. As I say, somebody else can correct me, but that save that Fabianski made, I can't remember him touching the ball with his hands prior to that. And what are we, 35? That was about 35 minutes. As Manchester United now, Fabianski's got it in his hands now. He comes to the edge of the box.
There you go.
Well claimed. So,
great stuff. Great stuff, man. West Ham 1, Man United 0. Rio, I mean, I imagine there's going to be some sort of inquest at half-time from Man United, but Alex Telles ball watching a little bit there, it seemed. Just let Souček go round the back of him and pass the ball into an empty net.
Yeah, they've had massive problems all season with this, and their defending is pretty woeful. They've spent an absolute fortune on Maguire, Lindelof.
It's going to be offside. It's going to be offside.
Hello? Hello? Oh my God!
It wouldn't count anyway, lads. He was a mile offside.
Yeah.
What a chance for West Ham. Gnome's come back at an opportune time there.
Sorry, I had to deal with something there. Let's have a look.
No worries. Talk us through it. Let's have a look. Hilaire away and in the clear. Goes round the keeper. It looks like it's an easy tap into the empty net. And it looks like I don't know. It looks like he's shot by a sniper from the away end. But strange one, Pinky.
It just fell over. I think Pinky. When they get that, it was a very close one. I think it would have taken the laser lines to sort that out. But no, I'm sorry, Haller. He's on. They're patting on the back, saying, "Head up, mate." Head up and go again. But Haller has just been fouled now in a central position, halfway between halfway line and penalty box, and the ball's played out to Masuaku, who's now looking to pick out the cross. Puts in a low cross, ball rebounds.
I mean, honestly, if this was a boxing match, the referee would be stopping this now. We are battering this at the minute. Manchester United are absolutely clueless at this point in time. I can tell you on Red Cafe, they are getting slaughtered by the Red Army. They're absolutely getting slaughtered.
It's another corner. Let's see if we can make this one count. Creswell's on it out left. Let's see if Rice can actually head it straight in this time. Corner from Cresswell comes in. It's played out to the edge of the box. Bowen plays it back out to Cresswell, who's looking for support. It's back to Fornals now. We're having to play it back now. There's nothing really on Masuaku. Out to Fornals on the left. Back to Masuaku. He's looking to play it out left. There's Cresswell. Cross comes in from Cresswell. Headed up and overhead kick clearance only as far as Bowen, who's trying to wiggle some room there. Not quite getting there, but he's got the ball back. We've got Kufal now out on the right. Cross in from Kufal. Head up by Haller, but it's gone harmlessly through to Henderson. But another good spell of pressure there.
Pinky?
Absolutely, and let's give a bit of credit to our manager, David Moyes, because tactically tonight, we're slinging crosses into what is clearly a dodgy centre-back partnership and an inexperienced at this level goalkeeper. So if you want to see where Manchester United could be vulnerable, it's right there, boys. And our team are not disappointing their manager. We're absolutely playing to his instructions. No doubt about that at all.
43 minutes gone. West Ham United 1, Manchester United 1. It's all going superbly so far. West Ham had a decent start, sort of went a bit quiet for 10 or 15 minutes, but have really come back and hit Manchester United a really solid 10 minutes or so, as Gnome pointed out before the goal. And
Marshall's got a shot away, but Fabianski's turned it around the post. It's a good move out the left, and we gave Marshall the run wasn't tracked. I think Marshall played it along, and didn't get goal side. Nobody cut in with Marshall. Curling shot in at the near post, but Fabianski was equal to it. Corner to Manchester United. Swung out swinger out towards the penalty spot, headed up. Couple of headers. Souček heads it out to Bowen, who then plays it. We've got a break on it. We're lucky.
It's tearing up the middle here now.
They've got back at him.
They've gone back in time, but do you know what? We broke forward at some pace there. We're looking good here. Whisper it quietly, but we are looking good.
Yeah. West Ham in fine fettle right now. It'd be great if we could grab another one before half time, Rio.
Henderson's just made it. I think there's the flag up. So they were showing a replay and then they cut to live action, which showed Henderson making a save. But judging from the way the ball's just seemed to have gone dead, it looked like it may have been offside there. Let's have a look.
Okay.
Good stuff. Pressed well. Bowen had the header turned away by Henderson. Just having a look at the break now.
Okay, good stuff. Rio, we could really do with another goal here, couldn't we, before half time and make the most of this pressure we're exerting?
Yeah, we've got to stamp our authority. That second is desperately needed. We've seen a couple of times this season, I think it was Arsenal, wasn't it, where our failure to capitalise and extend our lead has cost us dearly.
Yeah.
We need to find that second, just to steady the nerves a little bit, because we want to go in a well-deserved position. We're going to go in 1-0 up at half time, but we need that second because we have deserved it. I mean, we could have had 3 or 4 by now, and it wouldn't have been unjust. But yeah, it's just you need that second just to turn the screw, make them sweat a bit.
We're 20 seconds into a minute of stoppage time, by the way, just a sort of 1 minute. I was paying attention, stoppage time. So we've got 30 seconds left. So
doesn't look like we're going to get that second goal. But a fantastic, I mean, no, it's been a brilliant last 15 minutes for West Ham, hasn't it?
We're on the break now. Balbuena's come away with the ball. He's storming forward. He's just run it at traffic and really should have done better with that. There were players looking for the pass there. And superb from Declan there. Read the ball. Lovely tap.
Good half indeed. At the break, West Ham lead Manchester United by 1-0. The only goal of the half coming in the 38th minute. An Aaron Cresswell corner play to the near post where Declan Rice flicked it onto the far post where Thomas Souček had a tap into an empty net to give West Ham United the lead. And Pinky, it has been a thoroughly deserved lead. And in fact, you could probably argue that the Hammers deserve to be ahead by more than 1 right now.
Absolutely. And I think not only do we deserve to be ahead by more than 1, we really should be ahead by more than 1 because, it's very dangerous. Manchester United, of all the teams you play, they could easily get 2 or 3 goals very quickly. So when you're on top, you really have got to capitalise. But what we're seeing here tonight is a very experienced manager in David Moyes knowing exactly what to do to exploit the weakness in the opposition. And he must be loving what he's seeing tonight because the money that was really denied him as Manchester United manager, that others have been allowed to spend huge amounts of and seemingly squander. Harry Maguire, England international or not, does not look like, to me, an international standard centre-back, let alone one good enough for Manchester United. Henderson looks very, very shaky between the sticks in terms of positioning. So they are weak at the back. And I think the instruction from our manager clearly is have a go at them, break at pace, have a go. And I think we're really good value for our lead here tonight. In terms of Manchester United, if I was doing a head-for-head on tonight's performance, the only player from their team who I would touch with a barge pole is Edison Cavani, who I think his movement, his work rate, his application has been absolutely top draw for Manchester United, and he is putting the rest of their team, many of whom players are much younger than him, he's putting them to absolute shame. And, just going through Red Cafe here now, there is just an air of despondency. Pogba is getting slaughtered. Martial is getting slaughtered. Donny van der Henley, obviously waiting to play Hotel California later, is deemed to be no substitute for Bruno Fernandes. They are getting hammered by their own supporters.
Yes, and understandably so, because they've been distinctly second best in that opening 45 minutes. We are now going live to the London Olympic Stadium for our man on the spot. Charlie, a KUMB member, is, of course, one of the lucky 2,000 who's been able to gain access to the stadium after this evening. And Charlie has got a huge smile on his face right now. And anyone who's watched the opening 45 minutes can understand why. Charlie, how's it been from your seat there in the Billy Bond stand, buddy?
Going to football matches is really good fun, isn't it?
I wouldn't know.
It's absolutely, so I'll stop swearing now. But it's been an amazing game, obviously. And it's just so frustrating because I don't know if you can hear us on the telly or whatever, but when you've got 2,000 people trying to get a chant going and you're all socially distanced, it's quite difficult. And the frustration when you're playing so well, imagine 60,000 people in there when we're playing that well, it would just be awesome. But you can see that the players really appreciate it. They love it when Cresswell comes for a corner and everyone's clapping him on. When Allaire missed that chance, and people were applauding him afterwards. Get on your feet, get back in there. So I don't know if they're feeling it much, but it seems to be working, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and it's certainly good to see you back. Now, I don't know if you can see the guy from your seat, Charlie, but when West Ham scored, we closed in on the TV cameras to a rather large chap in a Hawaiian shirt. I don't know if you've seen that guy. Is he anywhere near you?
Hawaiian hammer is just down to the left from me. Great to see him there, isn't it? Absolutely
it is. Well, perhaps you can tell him that he's famous now because he's been on the telly in front of millions. But how was the celebration? What was it like celebrating a West Ham goal being socially distanced?
Well, a few fist pumps, but you're not allowed to touch. It's ridiculous. But my God, it was great. It's a really it's a bit like an away game, when there's like just you. And normally against a whole bunch of other people shouting. It's got an away game vibe in that sense. Everyone's hoarse after 10 minutes because they're trying to get some noise going. Sure. But of course, it still feels so spooky, like when you score, Yeah. I mean, it's also just fantastic listening to the players. You can probably pick it up on the telly, but in the stadium, it's like being at a park game. You can hear them. What's great from our lot is you can hear them all shouting a lot. I remember West Ham teams in the past that seemed to have some sort of monastic vow not to, to encourage each other. But everyone, I was impressed by Balbuena, for example. I didn't realise he talks a lot,
Yeah.
And you can literally hear him, Matthew and Arthur and Krez are trying to sort something out. You can hear them sort of chatting to each other because they're on my side, So it's a strange thing. It's quite kind of intimate. It's like they're playing for us in our living room or something, or in our back garden.
Yes. I suppose in a way it's probably a little bit like going back to the Bowling Ground where you could still, even when it was a full ground, if you were sitting in the front through a few rows of each stand, you could hear the players and hear what was being said on the touchline.
That's a really good point, Graham. It is a bit like that. You feel strangely, even in this cavernous, empty stadium, and you're still miles from the bloody pitch, of course. You do feel that contact more. That's a really good point.
How is it in terms of attempting to generate an atmosphere with only 2,000 of you there? Now, of course, when you're in a crowd of that size, it sounds quite loud to you, but do you feel you're sort of being successful? Does it feel like that's coming across to the players? Does it feel like they're responding to that?
Well, you're getting a little bit more. I mean, what I missed, obviously, with the TV, with the false crowd noise, is I know they tried to make it responsive, but here you've definitely got that. You've got the ooh when you just miss, and the sort of anticipation and so on. I don't know if the players can feel that. I don't know if they can hear it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's socially distanced. So it is kind of weird. It's like being, as I say, it's like being in a pub, say, when you're in a minority sort of thing. There's a bunch of other people doing their shopping. Perhaps it's like going to watch a game at Westfield. There's a bunch of people, doing something else.
Or Arsenal.
Or Arsenal, exactly. And you're trying to get really excited. And it's such an exciting game. I mean, isn't it? Is it just me, or is it?
I think
it's a cracking game.
It is, absolutely, and we were saying here, it's bar a sort of 10 or 15 minute period in the centre of the half where West Ham sort of went off the boil a little bit. We've been in complete control. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the stats, but we've conceded most of the possession. I think Manchester United have had sort of 2/3 of possession so far. In terms of the shot count, we've had 12 shots at goal in that first half. Only a couple on target, but still, we've peppered their goal, haven't we? And certainly been on top so far, you'd argue.
One of the interesting things being in the stadium as well, you've probably picked up on this as well. Pogba is always a moody so-and-so anyway, isn't he? But you can really see there's something wrong at the heart of that team. He's getting completely wound up because Haller is chasing him around and Souček's chasing him around, and he's not sort of dictating the game. You can see that. I mean, I think that's going to be our main problem in the second half. If he gets his act together, then obviously they've got the firepower. But at the moment, and another thing is you can really appreciate, again, being there, is, I mean, they're all playing fantastically, but Declan, he just stitches the whole thing together. He's just everywhere, directing everything. Fantastic presence on that pitch. It's amazing. Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. I think I wanted to make the point actually during the break that I think it was the corner, the chance that led to the corner. It all came from an interception from him where he broke up play, nicked the ball on the halfway line. But he's done that a couple of times, hasn't he? So we were saying on the commentary that he was a little bit out of sorts on Monday against Villa, but absolutely bang on it today. And in fact, the whole team have looked like that so far.
Absolutely, it's a whole team thing. And again, being in the stadium when you can see the whole thing, you can see as soon as they get the ball, everyone's getting back in shape. If somebody does something daft, like when Balbuena went on that run, into their penalty area virtually, you can see that everybody else adjusting the team. There's a real cohesiveness about this lot. They're really working for each other. I mean, God knows what will happen second half, but
Well, fingers crossed. Charlie, one more question, if I can, before you go, and we do appreciate that you're taking your time to come and talk to us. In terms of what's going on inside the stadium right now, is there anything open for you to get refreshments from, or is everything shut up?
I've had a free hot chocolate.
Okay.
Magnificence of the owners. Otherwise, the stewards inside the ground are being a bit kind of, super careful about the 2 meter thing, but they have to be, don't they? Because if they can get this right, then we can all come in. I'm actually really grateful that I got this chance to talk to you, just because I almost feel a little bit guilty. I can't wait for everyone to be back in there. I got lucky. My son got lucky. We're in there. It is such a good feeling, especially when we're winning, of course. But it's such a good feeling to be able to see it.
Charlie, have you got any idea how much I hate you at this particular point? But anyway.
I know. I'm really sorry, but I'm there for you all, okay? I'm there for you all.
Well, listen, Charlie, don't feel guilty at all. We're just all delighted that some of us are able to be in there, and the 2 of you, of course, in there.
Yeah, I'm so glad
enjoy it, my friend.
Well.
Good. Well, we hope you have a wonderful second half. Let's hope we're all still smiling when we speak again in about 45 minutes time. If you get the opportunity to give us a shout at the end of the game, it would be great to talk to you at the end. But go and enjoy the rest of your hot chocolate and your halftime break. And thank you again for joining us. And we'll catch up again very soon.
All right. See you guys.
Cheers, Charlie.
Cheers,
see you guys.
Take care. So there it is, our man on the inside, Charlie and son, both of the guys there. Enjoying what they've seen so far, and of course, anybody, Rio, of a West Ham persuasion has got to be happy with what we've seen so far. A fantastic first half, 1-0 to West Ham. Could have been more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our best performance particularly that last 15-minute spell. That's their best performance for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
The last 3 games, we picked up 9 points, but let's face it, we've ridden our luck massively. 2 missed penalties, comedy of errors at times, especially against Villa, where they actually battered us for 88 minutes, really.
Yep.
So to produce this kind of performance against the Champions League side, it's massive, and we just got to hope that our failure to capitalise and get a second isn't going to come back and bite us on the backside, because we saw what they did to Southampton last week.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that. They were 2-0 down there, weren't they, at
Yeah.
St Mary's, and came back to win 3-2. So we've got to be careful.
Oh, definitely. But if we continue that kind of performance in the second half, hit them on the break, keep them contained, don't let them play too much, we should be all right. But, they've got some big guns on the bench. We've got to just hope that he doesn't really turn to them, because you don't want Fernandes coming on and really controlling the game and doing exactly what Pogba should be doing, but has once again failed to.
Yeah, very much so. Thank you, Rio. Pinky, I wanted to ask you about something that Charlie mentioned there. We've seen so many excellent performances in the first half there from West Ham. Jared Bowen, outstanding. Thomas Souček, of course, got the goal and has been far more involved than in recent weeks. Balbuena, we've mentioned a couple of times, and I've been really surprised to see him burst forward as frequently as he has done. Again, Charlie made a reference to it there, but the man who's been really outstanding so far, Declan Rice. What a first half is. We mentioned that sort of error where he almost let Cavani in, but apart from that, he's been exemplary so far, hasn't he?
He's bossed it. I mean, before the game, reading Red Cafe, they were saying Pogba was going to do this and Van der Beek was going to do that, and McTominay was the second coming. Declan Rice has bossed it. Absolutely bossed it tonight. He has looked the player of utter class out there tonight. He's broken up attack after attack from Manchester United. Whenever any of our players has made an error, generally he's swept up behind them. Tonight, he has done the job. Dare I say it, I was calling for him to do last week. And so he knows how to do it. And I can only assume, as I said, 20 minutes ago, last week they were playing to the manager's instructions, which was stand off. I suspect to avoid giving away cheap free kicks to the likes of Grealish. Tonight, It's been a case of get stuck in, and no one's got stuck in more than Declan Rice. He has been superb tonight. And I think the player alongside him as well, Thomas Souček as well tonight has been very, very good indeed. He's got the goal, but he's been active, he's been mobile. We've looked different gravy tonight compared to Manchester United, and we're playing well. They've got some big guns to come on. It looks like Fernandes is coming on now, the start of the second half.
Yes,
you'd expect, and Rashford as well. So, take that as a compliment, West Ham United. The mighty Manchester United. They start with a slightly weakened team, dare I say it. They're a goal down, and now they're chasing the game. Little wonder that there's an increasing number of their supporters on Red Cafe calling for their manager's head. A bit harsh, perhaps, but you can see why they're frustrated. That's for sure.
Yeah, you just wonder how much longer he's going to have there, don't you? And Gnome, Pinky, of course, mentioning there, the big guns are coming on. It reminds me a little bit of 2006, 2007, when we were 1-0 up there at half-time, thanks to Carlos Tevez's goal, and Ronaldo, etc., came on, and the home fans all chanted, "Send them down," in unison. Of course, it didn't work that day. Let's hope it doesn't again today.
Could we be sending them down? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Rashford and Cavani. Rashford is on for Cavani, and Fernandes is on for Van der Beek. So those are the two changes made. We've now just kicked off. I mean, let's see it. I think they need a major sort of step change in the way they're playing. For that to make an effort. But
do you think these changes can be the catalyst for that?
So just watching now, the ball's been played down their left, and it's a flag's up anyway. But excuse me. I mean, I think we've just seen a little bit there of what they would be wanting to do, and that is that the ball went across from side to side for a few seconds, but they were trying to play it more direct, and the forward ball, okay, it was offside, but that's the most sort of direct ball I think they've played all evening.
Yes.
And so maybe we'll be seeing more of that rather than just keeping possession, trying to seek that little opening. Anyway, we're pushing forward now. Arthur's on the ball, plays the ball down the line, well, inside to Fornals. He makes some space. He's made some space, but from an offside position. So, as you were.
Good stuff. 46.5 minutes gone. West Ham United 1, Manchester United 0. Couple of changes at half-time. Rashford on for Cavani, which at Rio, does that surprise you slightly? I mean, Pinky pointed out there just before half-time that Cavani, looked like one of their best players. And there you go. Hooked after 45 minutes. Yeah,
it's a bit surprising, but I just think it's an indication of how well our back three have really marshalled him. His touch is amazing, but he's not got a lot of change out of Balbuena, etc. You know, I just think Rashford coming on. It's more of a change of dynamic and a change of approach in their play.
Yeah,
you can also try and get behind us a bit more, use the pace a bit more, and try and exploit any kind of deficiencies in that area, because we know that our back three aren't the quickest. So I think that's the way they're going to go. Rashford and Martial, pace in behind, try and hurt us that way.
I can't think who it is, but somebody on the stream, I can't find it right now, said, it's foregone conclusion. Says the first 10 minutes of the second half is super important. And of course, it certainly will be here tonight, Pinky. You sort of sense, I think, that if Manchester United don't profit in the, opening 10, 15 minutes of this half, that, maybe the tide will turn again in West Ham's favour. Not that it's against us, but, I think it's a fair point, don't you, that this is a very important period for West Ham right now?
Very much so. I mean, the longer this stays like this, the pressure builds on Manchester United. And whilst I'm not going to go as far as to say they're playing for their manager's job tonight, we've got a midweek game, Champions League game coming up. Lose here tonight and lose that, and I think he'll be gone. Because just look at the league table. This is a club that is not used to being in this position in recent decades, shall we say, and they're in all sorts of bother. I mean, the immediate difference here now, Fernandes on the ball, he's dropped deep to collect it, and he's trying to make something happen. And dare I say it, they really do look a bit like a one-man team with it all based around him, and they've looked like that all season.
Yeah, not in some ways, unlike Aston Villa last week, where everything revolved around Jack Grealish. You mentioned looking at the league table there, Pinky, and I don't want to upset Gnome again, but we're third at the moment in the live league table. So let's let's hope. I was going to come to you, Gnome, there, but you can't hear me. Oh, there you go. 4 minutes successfully navigated, Gnome, so far. Doing all right so far.
But I have noticed that there are a lot more forward passing. There's a lot more forward passing coming from Manchester United. There's again, thankfully, we've just seen an example. Declan Rice reading the game, picking those off, which is good. But they're looking to try and get that ball forward a lot earlier. The first half, I mentioned it was just going backwards and forwards. Eventually, somebody would try and seek some space going forward, but it wasn't really happening. But there's definitely a change in the way they're passing the ball. That's a good clearance from Fabianski outright, and Declan's on the ball now.
They're also pressing us with a lot more intensity here as well.
Yeah. Cresswell plays the ball out wide to Masuaku. Goes on the overlap, but Masuaku gets a low cross in, and it's cleared out. It's kept in, but only to Masuaku. Rice, Masuaku's on a bit of a dribble there.
Just a bit too strong there by Pablo.
Nice little ball, but just a little bit too much on it. Cresswell's in a good position. It was just inside the fullback there. Shame that one. It's a little bit like the first half in terms of Manchester United are seeking that ball, where we're actually more likely to be doing it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Thank you. No, just coming up to 51 minutes. Still West Ham United 1, Manchester United 0. Rio, last week, or Monday, should I say, we were very complimentary towards the boss, David Moyes, after he made 2 very proactive substitutions at half-time that essentially won us the game. No?
Oh, feeds it. We're at attack it. Kufal.
Oh! I could have banged it in with my Todger. I mean, that was an open goal and Bowen just puts it wide.
What a chance for West Ham. Could have been 2. Pinky, talk us through it again.
Great move.
I mean, great move. I mean, the ball played forward. Haller knocks it wide to Kufal, sends in a low cross across the face of goal, and Bowen meets it with his left foot with a goal at his mercy. I mean, sorry, Gerard, but you've got to take that chance. We should be 2 up, and let's hope that doesn't come back to haunt us.
Why didn't Kufal take the shot?
Yeah, we're on the attack again. That's Fornals rather. He's stuck out on the left wing, and it gets blocked, and it's gone out for Manchester United throw-in. Yeah, I was looking for Kufal to have a dig there. He had a good angle on it. To be fair, Bone, the ball was played. It was very, very wide, and he was stretching to get it. And I don't believe Pinky's lied about his Todger for a second. Now we've given the ball away, which means Manchester United could hit us on the break here a little bit. As Pogba going forward. Oh, beautiful interception. Oh, we've given it away again, Balbuena. Good interception, but we mustn't give the ball away. But we've won it back, and Haller's giving it away again. Manchester United need to come forward, but it's a long shot, and Fabianski's well behind it. Couple of times we put in good interceptions there, and then stupidly gave it away. Really, it was Maguire having an effort. So, and it's meat and drink for Fabianski. He's got everything behind it. Gathered it.
I guess that's a good sign, Gnome, if they're resorting to Slabhead taking pot shots from 35 yards.
Yeah.
I guess. But Rio, I was just going to come to you there. I wanted to ask you. We mentioned David Moyes and how he made those 2 very proactive substitutions at halftime last week. It's a very, very dangerous lead, isn't it? 1-0, one mistake, one small error, and Manchester United right back in the game. At what point do you think, if you're Moyes, you're going to be looking to make a change here tonight?
Not for at least another 10, 15 minutes, unless something drastic happens. We keep the players who have worked so hard and done so well, and let's be honest, we should be 3 or 4-0 up.
Yeah. We
don't change the dynamics of this until absolutely necessary. And I think when it does happen, it will just be probably a Ben Rahman for 4-0 kind of change. Just all the dynamic up front, a bit more energy and pace up front as well. But at the moment, I can't really fault us, And someone who gets a stick in Sebastian Haller, I think he's marshalled a man, bullied their centre backs, and made them work with their money. I think he's played incredibly well. Sadly, I think he's just going to be remembered for that slip. That's my worry for it.
Yeah, that's 2 now, isn't it? I mean, Haller with that stick there and Bowen should have scored from there. Should have been, another goal. But we've really had some great chances, haven't we?
Manchester United have just had a good chance there. Side netting, good yard wide code into the side netting, but it was a good ball. If he's onside from Maguire, ball played in from the left, came across goal, and I'm not sure that was there. It's
McTominay with the shot. Yeah, McTominay had the shot. Yeah. The ball played in from the right-hand side, I think, by Rashford. From the left by Rashford, wasn't it? But first time they've got away, Gnome, from us there, got behind us.
Yeah. It harks back to what I said in the first half. They would have been looking to play those balls. So we've got to be a little bit more aware. But I'm not worried at the moment. That was as we got the ball now with Arthur, placed the ball down the left to Fornals, inside to Haller doesn't quite get hold of it, and this is where I would get a little bit concerned, where they're trying to be a bit more direct on the break, but that's wonderful from Ogbonna. Beautiful reading of the game, intercepting a pass there that could have had us in trouble.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And we've got Bowen now trying to work an angle, 4 nails, Declan Rice, and we've got Masuaku. Cross comes in. It's just gone out. Thought it might curve back in and Kufal keep it back in, but wasn't the greatest crosses. But as I say, to get back to the point, in the first half where an attack was breaking down, they weren't very direct in the way coming forward. A couple of times when an attack's broken down, they've tried to get us on the break and they've tried to get us a little bit quicker. There's been the long ball, tried to play it inside. Just a little bit cute and watchful, but I'm still confident we can actually score. We've got enough nous to get another goal ourselves here.
Okay, well, let's hope we do, because as we said at 1-0, it's always a bit dodgy, isn't it? Pinky, one player I wanted to ask you about. He's seen plenty of ball since the half time interval and saw plenty of it in the first half. Arthur Masuaku, but it's not really working for him tonight, is it so far? A couple of guys on the YouTube chat perhaps suggesting it might be time to replace him.
No, I think that would be a mistake. I wouldn't make any changes at this point in time, because we saw last week when we made the change, we went to a flat back 4 and Ben Rama came on, and I've made the comment several times. Ben Rama's a player that looks dangerous at both ends of the pitch. And for anything he brings going forward, I'd always count double on mistakes he makes defensively. So I'd leave it as is. Arthur's doing okay. For me tonight, the standout are the two in midfield. It's Souček and Rice. Their defensive shape positioning tonight is spot on. Declan in particular is showing some awareness tonight of what his job is tonight. And I actually think he'll come out possibly as man of the match tonight, unless he drops a real clanger. It's a defensive midfield masterclass from Rice tonight.
Yeah, very much so. Been absolutely fantastic, isn't he, so far? We've just seen a few shots of Martial sort of signalling to the bench. I don't know if he's clutching his groin there, Rio, but it looks like Manchester United are going to be forced into their third and final change of the evening ahead of the hour mark.
Yeah, God willing, please let him be injured. That's another one off the list. It will be a massive blow for them. But let's not forget, they've still got Rashford there to hit us with pace. I think Greenwood, him going off will be a blow for them, but they've got tools at their disposal still. So I still need to be really careful about what we're doing.
Yeah, very much so. We're approaching the hour mark. It's West Ham United 1, Manchester United 0. West Ham 1-0 up. If you're joining us late, could be 4 or 5 up by now. 2 fantastic chances. One in the first half for Sebastian Haller, where he went round Henderson, the Manchester United standing goalkeeper, and lost his footing as he looked prepared to just put the ball into the net. And then Jared Bowen, lovely cross from the right-hand side by Vladimir Kufal. Bowen, again, with an open goal, looked like, he had an easy chance to tap it in and just sort of got his angles wrong, I think, or perhaps Gnome felt he might have been stretching a little bit and couldn't quite
Kufal on the
get
ball
enough
now.
On the ball.
Cross comes in.
But it's West Ham 1-0, leading 1-0. No.
Yeah, cross came in there, but it was cut out. But we're getting some good. The game is getting very stretched now, and we're getting some good stuff from the ball played out to the left. Sorry, as Manchester United are going down, breaking down our left. The ball's in the box, and it's side netting, and they're trying to claim a corner for. I was given the corner. Didn't look like it from this angle, but obviously they're a lot closer than I am. We seem to be getting a couple of times. We're getting good mileage out of the ball from our left over to the right wing. But as I say, Manchester United now another corner, in swinger, and Souček basically heads it out, clears it out for a throw in. Good defensive header. Wasn't the greatest of corners, but we'll have that. The game is getting stretched. Just to say a bit of luck, because obviously they're going to be coming at us. They're 1-0 down, but we can capitalise on this if we're clever about it.
Hopefully. An hour gone. West Ham still lead 1-0. According to the BBC, Martial is moving like he's got pants made out of concrete, which is an interesting observation. I'm not sure whether that was
pants. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's Tom Rostance or Emma Sanders who who made that comment. There's 2 of them reporting for the BBC tonight. But as we said, Martial definitely on his way off. Pinky, it looks like Mata is about to come on for the visitors tonight. Decent player, who's done well for them over the past
few years. Magnificent footballer, one Mata. And, there's a couple of players that have played for Manchester United who I always thought would be good in our colours, if you know what I mean. Dimitar Berbatov obviously had a spell at Tottenham, but I thought he was the classic Man United sort of star buy that Fergie sort of roped into the tail end of their careers. And Juan Mata, I think, would be a super player for West Ham in his prime. Obviously, would never be able to afford him, but he's a footballer I really rate. So I think he could create something for them here tonight. So he's one to watch.
Yeah, the change has been made, by the way. He's gone off at the far side, and Mata's just come on. So Martial is hobbling his lonely way around the ground. Now we bring the ball away, and Arthur's on the ball, brings it into the Manchester United half. Creswell's out there on the overlap, and Arthur uses him. Cresswell feints to cross, but then pulls it back to Arthur. Bit of an Arthur Cresswell passing to each other going on here at the moment. Cresswell on the ball, just trying to seek a bit of space. 4 nails involved, and West Ham throw it's gone out for. So good bit of possession there.
We have we have managed to successfully negotiate the opening third of the second half, anyway, which we said was quite running. Gnome, I'm just wondering whether Solskjaer, as someone has pointed out on YouTube chat, sort of wishes he'd have taken off Martial instead of Cavani now at half time.
Yeah, maybe. But then you obviously you don't know, do you? You don't know who knew that Martial was going to pull up lame, sort of. On the hour sort of thing, you simply don't know. So, yeah, you can second guess that all you like. If somebody else gets injured, you could say, well, he'd regret making 2 substitutes at the interval, because you're now down to 10 men.
Of course, that is, of course, the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. It could happen to anyone. But, the reality of the situation is now that here we are, a third of the game left to go. Manchester United, no substitutions left. All 3 subs on. Rashford for Cavani, Fernandes for Van der Beek, and Mata for Martial. David Moyes, still all 3 of his substitutions left to go. Rio, should we have a quick dive into the KUMB forum and have a look at the match thread and just see what the views are right now before we go over to Red Cafe with Pinky?
Yeah, this one comment I hope is prophetic. Oz has put, this is setting itself up for the Algerian fella to come on and seal the win. I really hope you're correct, mate. Bend it like Rebka. So many chances. We should be home and dry. We need that second. Long shots, and I agree with this as well. Would love to see Arthur run at the defence a bit more. As they look
hang on. We got Fernandes was long ball cleared. Fernandes was his.
Great goal by Paul Pogba.
That's a hell of a goal. We got caught flat there. Long ball played from the back, and Fernandes basically had all the time in the world. They pulled the ball back, and Pogba's kind of side foot. It's goalkeeper's clearance, and Fernandes is out wide left, cuts inside, squares it for Pogba, and he's curled it to inside of his foot.
And there you go. What did we say? What did we say? West Ham, you've had the chances. We could be 4 or 5 clear by now, and that was always the danger. Just takes one chance.
Going absolutely potty on the touchline, claiming that the ball was out of play, played long. So, will VAR have a look at this at all?
Be interesting. I'd like to see that again, because the first time I saw it, I didn't think so. But then
I'm looking at it
now.
Okay, interesting stuff. So just to clarify, the punch, really, the clearance from Henderson looked like it curled out went out of play and curled back in. And David Moyes has raised the issue. No one on the pitch has, but VAR, Rio taking a look now.
It looks it's about there.
The angle is impossible to decipher for us. I think it's the chess sketch has got to come out, isn't it? Because it is impossible to tell. It looks out for me.
It must be better angles than that, surely.
You would have thought so.
Yeah, because
it's a fantastic strike. But no.
Yeah.
Well, we're all waiting to see what's going on. No one really knows. We're not seeing any different angles on the TV, are we?
I think they've given the goal. I don't think he could.
I think
given the goal if we started. Yeah.
The hole in the VAR defences there, which is they clearly haven't got a camera down the line.
Yeah. We don't know. We think it probably might have been, but who can tell? I mean, I certainly couldn't tell from that camera angle. If that's all they've got to go by, then you simply can't tell.
But it makes you wonder. I mean, Pinky, if that is the situation, we've got loads of. We know how many cameras. There's tons of cameras around the ground, but that would be sort of a little bit odd, wouldn't it? Not to have any looking at that particular angle. It'd be strange.
It's the classic situation no one's envisaged, so they haven't covered it, and literally they haven't covered all the angles. Because to the naked eye, based on what you could see from the views that were available, it looked very much like it just bent out of play. And for my money, there's going to be a huge question mark in that. David Moyes in his presser, guarantee he'll refer to that.
Yeah, I mean,
now, here we've got a situation where Greenwood has just basically dived. He's trying to win a penalty. We're 2-1 down. Greenwood, to me, that goal shouldn't have stood because that ball went out for a throw-in. Greenwood threw himself to the floor, no contact, trying to win a penalty, nothing. Ball's gone out for a Man United throw, and suddenly they're 2-1 up. And I mean, that we should be sitting on a free kick there. Greenwood with a yellow card, and nothing's been done, and they're just going to score for it.
Greenwood has put Manchester United ahead 2 goals in 3 minutes for the visitors. West Ham absolutely bossing the game, but it's a carbon copy for the visitors of their trip to Southampton last week. They trailed by 2 at the break. They won 3-2. They're 2-1 ahead now. I mean, I also, looking at that, Pinky, I'm wondering about that challenge on Fabianski. I mean, that looks very, very late.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who it was from, but I think it was one of the substitutes. But, I think you got potential for 2 free kicks there for West Ham, haven't you?
Yeah, it's one of those, if it was our player to their keeper, we'd say it was never a foul. But it looked iffy. Pains me to do it, but I'm going to praise Mason Greenwood a little bit here. His movement to lose Ogbonna was absolutely out of the top drawer, and his turn and finish was, you can see why he's very highly rated at Old Trafford. Really what I'm saying there is lesser players and lesser talented players wouldn't have scored that goal. So I think we're a bit unfortunate to be behind, but that was a bit of genuine class from Greenwood, I'd suggest.
Perhaps architects of our own demise, really, given the strong first half performance we put in. Rio, Pinky singing the praises of Greenwood there, but what's your view on that? No mentioned the dive on the edge of the box. I mentioned the rather late challenge by, I think it was Fernandes on Fabianski, and also Fabianski slightly at fault perhaps for the goal. Should have done better, maybe.
I think he should have got down a bit quicker, but it was a great turn. Lovely bit of skill, but as you both said, he should have been drawn up for the foul. Basic blatant dive, and they just showed another view of the goal, the first goal from Pogba, and the ball was definitely out of play. Why it didn't have that angle the first time round, I don't know, but it looked yards out. So I'm not happy, and we're ruining the missed chances as we all predicted. We had to take at least one more of them chances.
Someone else free kick into the box, balls up in the air, bobbling around, and it's still being played up in the air rather than away. But Manchester United now bring it away. But Bowen puts in a good challenge, and we retain the ball. Balbuena plays it in. It's all very scrappy, and a Man United player goes down, and there's a free kick, and it's a little bit like Villa. it's a bit scrappy. There's lots of legs here. I'll go to the floor and we'll get a free kick. And McTominay again to blame. But yeah, I mean, the first one, that angle where we saw a second ago makes it look like it's gone out, which is bad enough. But I'm more annoyed about the second one because, Greenwood's thrown himself to the floor.
Yeah.
And that's a free kick and a yellow card. And, it's all very well the referee saying get up. Well, if you know he's done that, it could be 3 down here. And he's hit the post and we're still in the game. We got cut apart there, ball played through. Let's have a look again. Yeah, true that is, but he got between Cresswell and Ogbonna, and
it's all beginning to go a little bit wrong for West Ham here, Pinky, at the moment. Yeah. Time for a change, maybe.
I mean, our heads have dropped a bit. We're getting done a little bit here now, and I've changed things just to stop anything embarrassing happening, because the way Manchester United's luck is going from this evening now, they could easily get a third or a fourth quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure in terms of options what we've got on the bench. What have we got tonight, please?
We've got Lanzini, Snodgrass, Benrahma, Noble, and then defenders in Diop and Johnson. So Benrahma's or Lanzini, perhaps your most obvious choices if you're looking for a bit of attacking threat.
Yeah, probably Lanzini for Fornals, maybe something like that.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, still plenty of time to go. 20 minutes to go, and Rio, if West Ham can, somehow find that attacking impetus again, it's not beyond us to at least take a draw or maybe even win the game. You never know. But we're victims of our own mistakes there, aren't we? I mean, we can sit here all night and talk about the ball going out, should have been given the first goal, the potential fouls for the second one. But at the end of the day, we should be clear and, away, out of sight by now, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we're ruining the missed chances. We've got to be more clinical, particularly against a calibre of side like this. I think the biggest change, though, it's been Fernandes, isn't it? He's come on, he's pulling the strings.
Yeah, running the game.
Just put full for Rashford there is glorious. We need someone to sit on him.
Well, that Kuffel's out wide. We've got to... he drives the ball across and it gets blocked. Should have had better there, really. Kuffel's ball, he tried to drive it across. Now Manchester United are on the break again, and this is where we're going to get caught. Oh, what a superb tackle. What a
absolutely brilliant.
Marvellous.
Oh, no, they pulled it back.
Yeah. West Ham sort of clinging on a little bit at the moment.
And we're on the break, so the player goes down. I'm injured. We'll stop the play then. No, perfectly timed. You can hold your head all you like, mate, but you're not injured. And
superb again from Deckers. Absolutely superb challenge there. Here we are, 16 minutes to go. West Ham trail 2-1 when we should have been away and in the clear. I mean, Pinky, we spoke about David Moyes changing the game with his halftime subs against Villa. Solskjaer's done it tonight, hasn't he? Fernandes, as Rio rightly pointed out there, I think, run the game. Rashford also been really instrumental in the second half.
Yeah, but I'm not going to give Solskjaer any credit here tonight. I'm giving him none. He sent out a team that was not his strongest available 11.
Yeah,
and he gambled, and he got lucky because West Ham United should have been 2 or 3 goals to the interval. And we've got Benrahma and Lanzini coming on for us now.
Okay.
And Fornals going off as predicted, and Bowen off. But so Solskjaer got lucky. His second stroke of luck was having a bench packed full of talent that we could only dream of having. Certainly tonight, and therefore I don't think it's a managerial masterclass. I just think he's made an error at the start. He's picked his wrong team, realised it at half time, and sent out better players. You can do that when you're Man United manager if your opposition hasn't taken the 2 or 3 chances it really should have done. And that's the lesson for us tonight. You're not going to get that many chances to kill off a team like Man United. When you do, you can't miss. That's the bottom line.
Thank you, Pinky. No, a couple of changes there for West Ham, as you said. Jared Bowen, outstanding in the first half. We saw him miss that chance, early on in the second half, and not really been at the races since. Has he tactically taken out the game by Man United?
Yeah, that's a function of the fact that we've been sitting back and Manchester United have been playing more direct. So in the first half, we were picking it off and then building play, but we've not been picking that ball off. And the passing Manchester United has been a lot better. They just burst through there and could have had another now. And Greenwood again is unsurprisingly on the floor. We've been torn apart now the last couple of minutes. And Greenwood got the shot away. Then player came and, of course, a little bit of contact, threw himself to the floor again. But quite rightly, nothing happening there.
Really good chance. Really good chance that for Greenwood to put the game beyond West Ham there and make it 3-1. Pinky's back in the seat.
He's a chance they'll come to regret.
Well, hopefully, let's hope so. There's still plenty of time to go. As I said, Pinky, who's been absent for 77 minutes, back in the hot seat now. Pinky, you've seen enough from the sidelines.
Yeah, I've managed to bunk in, and that's the game now because Rashford's just scored Man United's third. It's disappointing here now what we're looking at because in the first half I thought we were very good indeed, save for the fact we didn't take the chances that we'd created for ourselves. Second half, Fernandes has come on. He's different gravy as a player, and it's Matt, one of the other subs, has just played the through ball for Rashford, runs onto it, and it's a simple finish for him. Just the keeper to beat, and you wouldn't expect an England international to miss those sorts of chances. So it's 3-1 Manchester United and pretty much game over because I can't see us getting 2 goals.
West Ham set to slip to our first defeat since being beaten by Liverpool. I don't think there's going to be a VAR check on that guy. I don't think it's needed either because Rashford clearly onside, and that's 3-0. Interestingly, gentlemen, Rio, it was 1-0 to West Ham when Solskjaer made that enforced substitution, having to take Martial off. So it just makes you wonder, as Pinky said, he's not going to give any credit to Solskjaer, but, it does sort of, we were talking about luck and the way the cookie crumbles, and there you go. An enforced substitution, Mata on for Martial on the 62nd minute, 18 minutes later, they're 3-1 up.
Yep. I'm just really gutted at the moment, because we played so well. We should have been 4 up. And as Pinky said, you can't give Scholes any credit because he gambled. It didn't pay off. He's brought on the big guns. They managed to turn the screw. But we've made a rod for our own backs, haven't we? We've really got to be more clinical. It's just incredibly disappointing. We played so well for that first 45 minutes. And to end up like this, it's gutting. But they've turned the screw. And at times, we can't live with Fernandes and Mata. And we're paying the penalty in a massive way.
Corner, though. We're just there at the corner. Kufal, some good work by Ben Rama. And fed Kufal. Got the cross in, got blocked out for a corner. Cresswell comes over at the right-hand side to take it. So we're probably looking at something swinging in. And what's happening now?
Stick with that.
Just trying to work out what's happening now. Really, Lino? Lino's decided that a different ball needs using than the one that he'd originally put on the spot. So he's had to run 20 yards away, pick up a different ball to take. Anyway, corner comes in. Cresswell swings it in. It goes all the way across. Ben Rama's out left. Trying to force a little bit of a space. Not really getting it. Close. There was a run outside him. I think Masuaki ran outside him. He used that as a dummy. And is it Ogbonna? Did the run there? Yeah, clever run from Ogbonna because it gave Ben Rama just a little bit of space to try and curl one in. Nice little curling effort, maybe, foot or so, 6 inches to a foot above. But a little bit of promising stuff there. Yeah, there's still 10 minutes left, and
still time. There's
yeah,
still time. I was just going to comment there, actually, Noam, on the crowd, because 3-1 down at home in front of a packed 60,000 capacity stadium at the Olympic, and you'd start to see people walk out at this point. Pinky, it's a bit difficult to tell whether anyone's walking out right now, isn't it?
Well, I mean, someone must have done, because I've managed to walk in. So, you know, it's working on a one out, one in principle. But no, I mean, we've heard reports at other clubs where supporters have walked out on the hour or 70 minutes and all the rest of it. And I'm not sure whether that's just the media being a bit mischievous. I mean, here we are tonight. You know, they've seen a very good first half from West Ham United. And just, you know, just the fact that Manchester United have got more in reserve than just about any other club. And yeah, I'm not being funny, but any one of us you could put in charge of that lot and say, pick a winning team from Manchester United from the players available. It's not the hardest job in the world in that sense. So tonight, disappointing, but I'm sure the supporters that have been there will enjoy their evening nonetheless.
We are, of course, closing in on the final 7 or 8 minutes now. West Ham, it's looking like a lost cause, but you never know. It's not so long ago we were in a similar position at Tottenham, and I think it was just a few minutes after this that we grabbed our second goal. So, you know, fingers crossed. First game this season, known that West Ham have conceded 3 goals in the game. We you know, the last 3 games we'd only conceded 1 goal, but sort of paid for it a bit tonight, haven't we?
Yeah, so very close to getting Ben Rama through there. If he'd been a foot taller, we might have got a bit more. But last 2 or 3 minutes, we're beginning to sort of put some passes together. Ben Rama, Haller's fouled there, surely. Yes. Yeah, Ben Rama's sort of running at them a little bit, which is something they're not enjoying, Manchester United, which may prove dividends. He played the ball into Haller, who controlled it and then just got clipped. Yeah, he got clipped as he tried to control it, and they cleared the ball, but the referee spotted the clip. So it's about 30 yards out we're looking at there, and so we're just there's a whole gaggle of players there, if that's the collective now. Well,
I think we're certainly ducked.
Yeah,
the way things are going.
Lanzini's looking interested, as is Cresswell. Cresswell is normally the. I think this might be a Cresswell free kick. Cresswell it is. Oh, and it's well saved. Tip round the corner there. It was going in, I think, from Cresswell. So
was it not last season that Cresswell scored a fantastic free kick against Man United? I think at the same end, possibly.
Yeah, it was that end, and Henderson had taken a step the other way, and so they did well to get back across there. So another substitution on. Johnson's on for Kufal. Don't know if that's an injury. Anyway, corner comes in, and Haller was primed for the header there, and Lanzini's drilled a volley back in, but it's lacks a bit of pace and power, and Henderson's right behind that. So nothing doing there.
Nothing doing. Still 3-1 to Manchester United. Rio, Sebastian Haller, Gnome's just mentioned him there. You know, we've been full of praise of him during the last couple of performances. Off the boil tonight for you?
I thought we had a pretty good first half. I just think the whole way that Man United have regrouped half-time and come at us, the whole team's found it difficult. And obviously, where we're on the back foot, he hasn't had the service. He hasn't been involved. So I'm not blaming him. I thought he had a decent first half, and he troubled Maguire a lot. But we've just been under the cosh ever since the restart. And Fernandes has come on, made them tick, sprayed the ball around, and he's just exploited every kind of weakness we've got. And their pace and intensity has killed us, and we're not coming back now, unfortunately. No, I would have said the old next goal wins quote.
We've just seen something. I've seen a fair bit of Ben Rama when he's come on, where we have a good move, and he just tried a flick to keep the move going. And it looked nice, but it was easily picked off, and it put us immediately under pressure. We've got to hold the ball better when we're going forward in that sort of position.
Pinky, we've spoken in the last couple of games about, you know, we've ridden our luck a little bit, especially against Villa last week. Is it just a case of our luck's run out tonight?
There's a touch of that, but I'm not a huge fan of blaming things on luck. The reality is we had good chances in the first half and we didn't take them. That's not luck. That's poor finishing.
Yep.
And you know, again, I'll come back to the caliber of player available to our manager. He's marshaled his resources the best he can. We've been undone a bit tonight by a lino not seeing that a ball's clearly gone out, and a technical solution that's supposed to, give a definitive decision on anything.
Played Hal a great little tackle there.
Clearly, they haven't got the cameras in the right place. So I'd say we've been a little unlucky in that sense, but it wouldn't have mattered had we taken our chances that we've done well to create. So, Rice has just fired one off 35 yards straight at the keeper. But, for me tonight, I'm not too disappointed with how we've played. I think Manchester United have just got more that they could call on from the bench. You bring on Fernandes. Is there a team in England that he wouldn't get in? You bring on Juan Mata. I was waxing lyrical about him when he was warming up, so to speak. When you've got that caliber of player to bring on when you're chasing a game, well, maybe our chairman should look at that and say, do you know what? When we went 2-1 down, if only David Moyes had players of that caliber to bring on. And that's the difference.
Yep, very much so. As we said, we'd ridden a lot, but today, I can't help agreeing with what Pinky's had to say there, Gnome, in that, I'm going back on my notes here, Gnome, and 42 minutes, Pinky commented and said that if this was a boxing match, the game would have been stopped. And that was 3 minutes before halftime when, we had them on the ropes.
We should have had the Donald Trump Stop the Count campaign starting up. But they changed the way they played against us. They were playing into our hands in the first half. And we could easily, had we taken chances, we've all said, been out of sight. And this all have been too late. But it's as we're going for, Benrahma's on the ball, wriggles his way through. And I don't know what's happened there. Well, he's gone down. There are a couple of little nibbles there, which he's not got anything for, but we'll have no doubt they'll show it again, maybe. But it was a promising little run that basically ran into traffic. So we're still on the attack a little bit now, but that's a loose ball from Rice there. Forces Cresswell back to pick it up. We're moving forward again now. Masuaku into Rice to Benrahma. Again, he's looking at nice turn. Nice turn from Haller. Nearly got Benrahma back in. We're still pushing forward now. Game's nearly gone, but that's a foul. Johnson's just been had the beating of Rashford out on the right wing, and Rashford just a bit late with the challenge. Let's have a look at it again. Yeah, it's just stabbed his leg across him, and Johnson just light, nothing malicious in there. But so we have a free kick out on our right, and Cresswell's moved across to swing that in with his left. So we'll all see what happens now as we're at the last 30 seconds of normal time.
Have we any indication from the sideline yet? Anyone seen about additional time? Not that it's going to matter here today. You think?
Not yet.
I'd say 4 maybe.
Okay.
Lovely chipped in ball.
Let's keep an eye out and see if that comes up. Rio, do you want to take us through this free kick?
It's gone.
It's gone. I missed it already.
It didn't come to nothing.
No,
I've seen it now. It's just come up on my screen. Complete waste of time. We are in added on time now. West Ham 5. Thank you.
Remarkably, I'll take it.
I suppose there's still time for a miracle, but I think we've probably had our miracle already this season, Rio, up at the lane a few weeks ago, and it looks like we're going to be having to reflect on a defeat for the first time in a while tonight.
Yeah, and it's just one of them really strange and typical West Ham games, isn't it? 45 minutes of absolute joy and class, squandered chances. And Man United at half time regrouped, introduced 2 quality players, and they've turned the screw on us. We've allowed them to play. That's the gutting thing for me. We've allowed them to play. We've allowed Fernandez to dictate the game, spray the passes around, and it is take away what I think of him as a bit of a snidey individual on the pitch. When he passes the ball around, he's a fantastic player, and he'd walk into every single side in the Premier League. So
yeah,
we've been undone by someone who's a bit of a magician, I'm afraid.
Yeah, funny how we've come up against a couple of teams like that in consecutive games, whereby they rely tremendously on one key player. But yeah, he's certainly some footballer, that Fernandez, isn't he, Pinky? And, as Rio, I think rightly said, he's made the difference out there in that second half tonight.
Yeah, very, very much so. And yeah, let's not forget as well that they could call on a certain Marcus Rashford, who Gareth Southgate normally gets to call upon for England. So that's how tough Ole's life is.
Manchester United now coming on the break. Ball's played out wide. Well, Greenwood runs into Balbuena, and Balbuena's not getting out of the way, and Balbuena now gets to clear it long. Good defending by Balbuena there.
The proverbial game of two halves, really, then, Pinky, would you say?
There's an element of that, but goals change games. And, I'll go back to the goal that, for my money, should definitely have been disallowed. The ball, you're never going to convince me that hadn't gone out of play. And I think that was clearly in our players' minds when Man United then tore up and scored the second goal. So, yeah. And it's things like that where maybe there's a lack of mental toughness that you can criticise us for. But I don't think Manchester United have been spectacular here this evening. Solskjaer's had better options off the bench than Moyes, and it really does boil down to that. Having said that, we've seen some very good individual performances from our lads. I thought Bowen was absolutely outstanding in the first half. I think Rice has generally been very, very good all game.
Yes.
So, in that context, we've not let ourselves down at all. But, the crucial calls at different stages of a match, if they go against you, they hurt you. And that's what's happened tonight.
That is exactly what's happened tonight. We're approaching rapidly the last couple of minutes. Well, we're in the last couple of minutes now. West Ham on their way to a first defeat in a while.
That's
also unusual for us, but we haven't tasted this for a while. Gnome, we've obviously spoken about the decisions for the first and second goal. What's your view on Andre Mariner's performance tonight? I mean, it's difficult, isn't it, to kind of assess to some degree because a lot of those chief key decisions are taken out of the referee's hands these days. But how do you think he's performed this evening?
Okay, the ball going out of play. The annoying thing is that VAR looked at one angle, decided it couldn't make a decision, and just said, "Oh, all yours, ref." So he was let down by VAR there. But the second one, I mean, there was both. He saw the Greenwood foul. Hang on, we're just on the attack now. Benrahma gets a shot in, but it's straight down Henderson's throat. The second one, he's seen Greenwood throw himself to the floor and just sort of wave, "Get up." Well, if you've seen that, the laws of the game. What do the laws of the game say, Mariner? And then when the ball's going to cross, I mean, Fabianski's been fouled. And again, you see that you don't give it. Well, that's just not being competent. That's, that's either not knowing the laws of the game or deliberately not applying them. I mean, generally up to that point, he's right, but he has fallen for every. I mean, McTominay's gone down, not quite as much as Grealish, but pretty much.
I don't think that's possible, is it?
Yeah, I mean, well, the world records with Grealish, wasn't there? I mean, but it's referees have got to wise up to this. I mean, Grealish last week. I mean, you could see that in real time how bad that was, and yet, as the final whistle goes, you can see how bad in real time that was, and yet you still give the free kick and pull out a card. Okay, last week's guy was a rookie. He was inexperienced. He was clearly out of his depth. But Mariners, got to be wiser to that. We deserve better.
Okay. We certainly, well, that is, as Gnome says, that's the final whistle. 95 minutes and 3 seconds played at the London Olympic Stadium tonight. The game has finished West Ham United 1, Manchester United 3. The Hammers could have been 4 or 5 goals up at half time. Such was our dominance in the opening 45 minutes. But a change at half time, a double switch by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, introducing Rashford and Fernandes for Cavani and Van der Beek, and later introducing Mata for Martial, made all the difference in the second half. Bruno Fernandes controlling the game, really, for Manchester United, at the heart of everything good they did in the second half. And unfortunately, West Ham simply couldn't cope with the opposition. And our unbeaten run of, well, our 3 successive wins, which could have been 4 at one point, comes to a disappointing end. I'll turn first to Pinky for your initial post-match assessment. West Ham United 1, Manchester United 3.
Not an altogether bad performance by us tonight. The score of 3-1, I think, flatters Manchester United, but it also reflects, the capability of their squad relative to ours. For a manager to be able to bring on players of the class of Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, and Juan Mata, that gives a manager, a big lift up. And no wonder the likes of Klopp and Solskjaer are all calling for 5 subs, because then who knows, they could bring on another 2 world-class superstars to batter other Premier League sides. So for me tonight, the difference was the bench. Solskjaer had more and better options than Moyes had. But having said that, in the first half, if we'd done what we should have done, which is take our chances, would have been home, hosed and out of sight, because no one's going to tell me that David Moyes, if we're 3-0 up, can't organise a team to keep a clean sheet. And it doesn't matter if you've got Maradona, Pele and Johan Cruyff in the opposition. Moyes understands how to defend. Let's be clear on that. So for me, it's not taking our chances tonight. That's cost us. It's cost us big time. But equally and more disturbingly is when the chairman has already essentially said there's no money to spend in January, you only have to look at the paucity of options for the manager off the bench tonight. And that's why I'm saying 8th is where we'll finish. And I see no reason to change my mind.
West Ham, thank you, Pinky. West Ham down to 7th. As a result of defeat tonight. At one stage during the live league table, we were, of course, in 3rd when we led 1-0. But Manchester United rise to 4th as a result of their win. And the Hammers have to pick up and go again next week. Rio, great start from West Ham. Looked brilliant in the first half, suffered in the second.
Yeah, Pinky's just summed it up marvellously well. Wasteful in front of goal was cost us. I mean, the ironic thing is, compared to Monday night's game, that performance was a million times better. We played, particularly in the first half, with a real intensity, a real purpose. We did everything right, apart from convert our chances. And as he's rightly pointed out, Man United have got the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford on the bench. Who have we got to change games, really? We're not in the same league in that respect. And again, as he's rightly pointed out, in the January window, we're not going to walk that, are we? We're going to be shopping at Lidl's. Where Man United could pop down to Waitrose and pick up a much needed defender, because believe me, their defence needs a lot of work. It's only their attacking flair and the calibre of Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford that has won them this game. That and our wastefulness in front of goal. But yeah, compared to particularly Monday night and possibly the Fulham game as well, we've performed a million times better and come away with nothing. And that's West Ham for you.
Thank you, Rio. West Ham United 1, Manchester United 3. Rio feels that we played better tonight than we did against Villa, Gnome, but come away with a defeat instead of a victory. As we, said, that's the way it goes sometimes. But what are your feelings looking back on what you've just seen?
Yeah, disappointment. really, because of we as Rio said, we played better and come away with nothing. I think we deserved a point out of that. But you don't take your chances, you don't score the goals. I did notice as the players were coming off, Moyes was in deep discussion with Mariner, and Mariner just said, Mariner was giving that sort of, I don't know, sort of look about him. So I suspect we're going to be getting some comments about that very shortly. Be interesting to see what Charlie's got to say if he's hanging around to speak to us.
Well, how about that for timing? Look at that. There he is. He was ecstatic. Well, when we last saw Charlie at halftime, he had a huge smile on his face. He's actually smiling a bit now, but
I'm still smiling.
I suspect he's not quite as happy as he was about 45 minutes ago. Charlie, West Ham United 1, Manchester United 3. We were cruising at halftime. We could have been 3 or 4 or even 5 up.
Yeah.
What went wrong in the second half?
Well, you could tell that our lot, I think, were knackered. Even 5 minutes into the second half, they looked a bit leggy, especially down the middle. And obviously the changes were just sensational. And I think there was a lot of strength. We suddenly didn't have the strength down the middle, especially. No one was playing badly. I couldn't see any sort of terrible mistakes, but you could just see we weren't closing them down so quickly. And they got lucky, didn't they? Fucking hell, Jesus. It's kind of, it feels familiar in a way, doesn't it? It feels familiar. It was very nice at the end. The players came over. Declan, looked so gutted, and they came over to the crowd. You sort of wonder, what would happen if it had been full when that Pogba goal had gone in. There would have been a kind of rally from the crowd. I don't know if it had made any difference, if that would pick players up a bit. So it was a horrible, it was a bit like a graveyard, that second half.
Well, we did ask actually, Charlie.
Sorry,
no, go on.
Were you aware, Charlie, of that goal that it appeared to have gone out of play?
Yeah, we got the VAR thing, didn't we? I couldn't see, to be honest. We thought it was offside, but that wasn't the truth. But you could tell that they just had that presence in front of goal, and Rashford, especially when he came on, was just, he just had the legs on us. I was saying to my son earlier that our defence was superb first half, but they hadn't been turned once. They hadn't had to chase the ball at all. And as soon as Rashford came on, you could see they were suddenly getting stretched. Suddenly space really opened up. So there you go. Still a great day. Still a great day.
Well, yeah, of course. For those who have only just
joined us on the stream
after the final whistle, Charlie is one of the lucky 2,000 who was fortunate enough to be. It's a bit like Willy Wonka in a way, being granted a golden ticket to get into the ground this evening. Charlie has been keeping an eye on proceedings and showing us around the ground since before the final whistle. Whereabouts are you now, Charlie? You look to be just outside the ground on the concourse or outside.
I mean, look at that. That's what it looks like. It looks like the game finished about 2 hours ago. It's a very strange feeling.
And is there anybody? I mean, you're riding home, but I presume there's quite a few fans making their way back to the station.
Yeah, again, it's there's none of that sense of the mass of people. I think there's things like the sort of play acting from when what's his name when Rashford went down and then Maguire went down as if somebody had broken his leg. And of course, there's a bit of shouting at that, but you can imagine the abuse he would have got if there had been 50,000 people in there, So I miss that. In defeat, we enjoy that kind of thing.
We were doing it for you, Charlie.
Thank you. Yeah.
How would you, overall, Charlie? How would you sum up the experience of being in a mostly empty stadium?
Not good, but it does have to show you that we complain about the atmosphere at this place. But it's a hell of a lot better when you got 50,000 people in there. I think today would have been an absolutely amazing first hour anyway for people, So we knock the Olympic Stadium, the London Stadium, but I can tell you it's very pretty. you know. And the toilets have never been cleaner. I've never seen. You could eat your dinner off the toilets there tonight, but it'd be a lot better with 50,000 in there. You know, you know, you just get it all that vibe back. It's just incredible. You know, you perhaps you appreciate it a bit more. Well, a lot more, like so many things in life, don't we? Just appreciating the idea of being able to do that.
Well, we thoroughly appreciate you taking the time
so
out.
I've lost you guys. My link's gone. I'll have to.
We can hear you.
Out.
We can hear you, Charlie.
We can hear you, Charlie. So don't start scratching your whatsits or anything. Or he's gone. Charlie's gone. Charlie, live from the London Olympic Stadium for us. There, you can catch up with Charlie on the KUMB forum where he posts. Our thanks to Charlie. We might even get him back in a little while. We shall see. But great to have someone actually at the ground there. Pinky, what did you make of it? It looked like a very surreal experience being at the ground tonight, from what Charlie was telling us.
Yeah, and as much as I would like to have been there, I'm not sure it's an atmosphere that you'd want to endure for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
The fact that kind of like sit down, shut up, and stay in your seat, and you're in trouble if you move so much as an inch. You know, having caned the club a bit earlier about the way they've processed the ballot, what else can they really do? They're in a very difficult situation. All football clubs are, and you know what I'd say is, if we're in a difficult situation, spare a thought for the lower leagues, for grassroots football, for those further down the food chain in terms of access to funds. Let's never forget that Premier League clubs choose how they spend their income, and the fact they choose to spend so much of it on players' wages and agents, that's why they're skint. I think once you get down to the fourth division or the conference level, there isn't all that much money to start with, and it's those clubs I feel desperately sorry for at this point in time. But for us tonight, for 2,000 lucky fans being able to go to a game tonight, I'm not sure how many of them would be queuing up to do it week after week in a stadium with 2,000 people in it, particularly that stadium. But good luck to them. But I think football will now be pressurising the government very, very heavily to say, well, you've allowed 2,000 in. What's wrong with 5,000 or 10,000? Because you know this is something that is now going to turn into a political hot potato. There's no doubt about it, and there's all sorts of activities that I think people would rather be doing, and one of them certainly is going to games of football. I don't have the answers, but it seems to me, you know, football is a sport that needs live supporters there. It's that simple. It really does. Because how many times were the trainers on the pitch tonight? And I've just got this little thing that maybe the games aren't being played at quite the intensity there would be if there were 60,000 there. There isn't quite as much physicality. And I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing more goals this season, is there's a bit more space because players aren't quite giving it the 100%. They're 97, 98%. And at this level, that leaves a lot of space. So for me, I want to see the fans back in, and sooner rather than later.
Great stuff. Thank you, Pinky. Gnome, as always, is keeping an eye on the post-match interviews for us. We've seen Rashford, I think, go through. Nothing for the managers yet. I just wanted to ask you quickly, Gnome. I've just seen a replay on the TV of the incident where we feel that the ball was out of play from Henderson's long goal kick. Now, just watching the reaction of David Moyes there, he puts his hand up as soon as the ball's kicked, and then, as if he's expectant of being given the throw in, then turns around.
But if you look, the linesman's got his back to it. He's not doing his job. You know, our officials are the greatest in the world, apparently. No, they're not. And the problem is that, it's the laughing stock of the world, our officials, and it's it's lapses like that really sort of annoy, because that's something simple, that's something clear and obvious, that's something simple that you should should be able to deal with. VAR was about as much useless as a chocolate teapot in that case. It looked at one angle, decided it couldn't decide one way or another.
Yeah.
But you've got a linesman whose job it is to stick his flag up when the ball goes out of play, looking in completely opposite direction. Do you want to come back to me? Solskjaer's on at the moment.
We'll do that. We will do that. Rio, let me take you back to, as I said, Charlie was at the ground tonight, giving us a first-hand experience of what it was like to be in that vast stadium with only 2,000 fans present. I guess in a way that's what it would have been like if we'd have perhaps ground shared with Orient, wouldn't it, for the O's fans, if they'd been playing home games there. But do you would you have liked to have been there tonight?
I would have liked to have been there, just simply because I love the club and I want to see them play in the flesh as much as possible.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't have enjoyed is not being able to, as I mentioned earlier, do the usual match day routines, meet up with friends beforehand, meet up with friends afterwards, and break down the game as we pretty much as we do today.
Yeah,
it just would have been a really weird atmosphere. I've been in that stadium when it's had that many people in, probably a few less, and even then, and that was for a completely different event, and it was cavernous, weird, and I just sat in the seats on that particular day, looked around and thought, this is not a football stadium. But if I'd have been there tonight, I probably would have looked around and thought, you know what? I'm not glad I'm here. I'm really glad I've actually got to see a game of football in the flesh, got to see my team in the flesh.
Yeah.
And albeit with so few people around me,
yeah,
I think I would have enjoyed it and made the most of it. I'm just desperate to see West Ham play in the flesh again. Yeah. It's not ideal. We're taking tiny steps towards some sort of normality. Yeah, I just think it's the before and after for me, which would have really made the difference. Seeing what Charlie was doing there, walking through an empty concourse, an empty route back towards the station or where his bike was parked, that would have probably made the biggest impact on me than anything else, I think, because you're so used to being stuck amongst 50, 60,000 people trying to get somewhere, and you don't have that buzz and that chatter and sharing comments with people, just walking back to places, I'd miss that more than I would anything else, I think.
Yeah. Yes, unfortunately, most people did miss out, but I guess, of course, there's going to be future ballots going forward. So who knows? It might be one of our guys in there very soon. Maybe Rio or Pinky or even Gnome can get in there soon and win the ballot. That's, of course, if we've not been blacklisted by the club for some of the comments we've made on some of these programmes and elsewhere in recent weeks and months. But anyway, we shall continue to hope. West Ham United 1, Manchester United 3. I'm just touching on something you said there, Rio, about the stadium. I recall being in there a couple of times before. When it's empty and sort of standing on the pitch, and it really just looks vast. I mean, it looks enormous, doesn't it, from the stand? But when you're actually on the pitch or in the centre of it, it is the word you used was cavernous, which I think is absolutely spot on. That's a perfect way to describe it. One thing we haven't touched on tonight, gentlemen, Gnome's just finished watching Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's post-match interview, so we'll come to that in just a second. Before we do that, let's have a quick roundup of the forums. Pinky has been keeping an eye on Red Cafe for us, where I suspect the natives are somewhat more happy than they were about an hour ago. And Rio has been keeping an eye, as he does always diligently, on the KUMB.com match thread. Let's go to Rio first to see what our fellow Hammers fans made of all that tonight. Rio, what's the general mood now? Somewhat despondent, I would imagine.
I think people are pretty much accepting that, as we've said, the calibre of player that Man United had to bring off the bench has really won on this game, and we was wasteful our chances, and that's cost us dearly. Ray's Rock was put. The funny thing is, we played better tonight for any time than Villa, and now we're losing. Get your heads around that one. There's a couple of really interesting comments. Smuts has put, defensively we went to put. Play too high a line and let the slow Kufels to be exposed. Not a good day for Fabianski either, to be honest. 4 nails does my nut in. We need to get Barama in over him or Arthur. Hopefully we have a striker lined up with a bit of pace, as Haller was bang average again. Let's be honest, we've been poor the last 3 games. The first half was the best we've played for ages, but you can't miss chances like that and get away with it. Gaz West Ham at 66. Most annoying game of the season. Lesson in taking your chances and can't afford to miss that many. Derelict equalised, looked to across the line by at least a yard or 2. Can even see Moyes on the touchline applauding the pressure Bowen put on Henderson to win the throw. He had the best view right in line with it. How can VAR not cover the pitch boundaries? No wonder VAR gets so much stick. Capitulated after that. Fernandes and Rashford changed the game for them. We looked spent. WHU Independent, highly disappointing. Playing a week out of form Man United team and going 1-0 up, bossing the game, and despite missed chances. Do we go for the win? No, we sit back and let them come and play on the break. As much as I hate Man United, I won't repeat the next one, and the boring team for North London, we always lose to them. Why? As Neville said, it's an attitude, a belief that you can win. Go 1-0 up and go looking for more. We don't have that belief, and we hardly ever have had it. We never play to win, we play not to lose, and that's the big difference.
Okay, a real mix of opinions there. Pinky, what's the view from Surrey tonight?
Well, the Surrey massive, the Guildford gang, dare I call it. Basically, the conclusion is they're not quite a one-man team, but as close as you're ever going to get to it. And here's a stat for you that whether it's true or not, I don't know, but someone's written it. They're saying 38 points for 38 games for Bruno Fernandes, and he's been involved in 36 goals. Wow. So if you want a player that makes a difference, if that stat's correct, he's the guy that makes the difference. Big praise for Marcus Rashford as well, all over the board. They're saying that he's a class act. So they've gone the full roller coaster tonight. Before kick-off, they were going to smash us. 35 minutes in, it was Ole's got to go. 70 minutes down, and it's we're starting to look like world champions again. And by the end, we're 2 points off top. There you go. That's your standard red cafe match thread, I suspect. And if we're being honest, the knees up Mother Brown one probably isn't too dissimilar in the same circumstances. So, I mean, fair play to them. Clearly, there's a sense of entitlement amongst an element of their support, I'd suggest. But you can understand it if you've got a number of very good players. But were I a Manchester United supporter, which thank the Lord and all that, I think we saw in the first half there were glaring gaps in their squad, just as there are in ours. And perhaps the most worrying thing for me tonight was watching the way that pace completely undid our defence in the second half. That's the introduction of Rashford doing that, and the speed on the turn of Greenwood to basically skin Angelo Ogbonna, who's been outstanding for us all season. But I touched in the first half that I thought we'd need to go for 2 young centre backs in the not too distant future. And I think what we saw in the second half here tonight kind of confirms that to me. Moyes is papering over the cracks using all his managerial experience, doing a very good job. But at the end of the day, it's about players. And if you ain't got them, you've got to go get them, because we've done fine this season, but we really are looking like a team that needs quite a lot of reinforcements all over the pitch.
Yeah, very much so. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get many of those if the noises coming out of Stratford or wherever it is are concerned these days. Doesn't look like we're going to have, or Moyes isn't going to have much of a transfer kitty in January, but we're doing sort of better, I think, than what most people would have expected at the moment. But yeah, to push on, we just need that bit of investment. Doesn't look like it's going to come, but we shall talk about that at length, I'm sure, at another point in the coming weeks. Gnome, been waiting patiently. I don't think anyone's come out yet, Gnome, but Solskjaer's had his say on tonight's game.
Yeah, it nearly kept me awake. He didn't say anything interesting, to be honest. He said, West Ham are a good team. Look at the results they've had this season. So it was no surprise that they played so well in the first half. I had to change something, and Fernandes and Rashford were necessary. It was unfortunate that Martial had the injury as well, but he's pleased with the pleased with the result. At the end of the season, nobody looks at the performance. It's it's how many points you've got on the board, that was pretty much it. It was the usual sort of fawning. I'd like to see a more Des Kelly approach to interviewing managers. To be honest, like last week, the thing with Klopp was just absolutely hilarious. But he wasn't asked any hard questions, and he didn't answer any of the soft ones either. So just usual standard stuff. Please.
Okay.
Point. We did well against a good team. Yeah.
Well,
Still waiting for Moyes anyway.
Yeah.
I've got the channel. Excuse me. They've changed channels for the Moyes thing, so I'm on the right channel. He hasn't come out yet, or if he has, they're not putting the recording. I'm watching lots of Championship League, Division 1, whatever it's called, or Division 2. Yeah, second tier goals at the moment.
Okay, well, let's see if he comes out. We'll give him another 10 or 15 minutes or so and see if he comes out to face the press, because it would certainly be very interesting, I think, to hear what he has to say about the first goal and, not West Ham not being given a throw-in in the lead up to that. But we shall see anyway. Fingers crossed we'll get something from Moyes before we end the broadcast. We haven't read out the full-time stats, so I'll go through those quickly before we move on. Possession, West Ham 40%, Manchester United 60%, which is interesting because West Ham, I think, were as low as about 34, 35% at half-time. So we increased our share in the second half slightly, but conceded 3 goals. Shots, West Ham 19 shots. Manchester United 15, each team producing 6 shots on target each. It'd be good to see what the XG is actually, Pinky. I don't know if you can perhaps find that for us at some point, just to see how that weighed up. Corners, West Ham 5 to Manchester United's 4, and West Ham committing 9 fouls to Manchester United's 10. Something else we haven't touched on yet, which we usually do by this point in our post-match roundup and discussion, debate, call it what you will, is our Man of the Match award for the evening. So first half, it could have been one of sort of 10 or 11 players, I think. By the end of it, probably none of 10 or 11 players. So I'll turn to Rio first of all. I think, Rio, overall, looking back at that, who's your Man of the Match from tonight?
I think, as you said, it could have been anyone from 10 first half. But Declan Rice was the standout player all game for me.
Yeah.
He made some crucial interceptions, absolutely bullied the midfield in the first half. Second half, obviously we run under the cosh a bit more, but when we did try and press the issue a bit more, he came to the fore. He made that outstanding challenge in about halfway, I think after their first goal, wasn't it?
On the edge of the
box.
Back
30 odd yards, got that vital foot in. That was an outstanding piece of play. And
he did it
was
3 or 4 times. Yeah. Sorry, Rio, butting. I was just saying he did it 3 or 4 times, didn't he, on the night? Some great interceptions and challenges.
Yeah, when people were losing their heads around him, he kept his up and he kept plugging away. So, yeah, for me, easy choice.
Okay, good stuff. Rio, Rio Gnome, would you go along with what Rio said, or have you got someone else in mind?
No, Declan Rice was fantastic today. Some of the interceptions that he put in, there was some which owed everything to anticipation, knowing where the ball was going to be and being there first. There were others where it involved getting more back at the player. That one on Rashford we're talking about, and he's an outstanding player, and fairly sure if he got caught and you see him go down, you know he's going to be in pain. Unlike many players these days, let's put it this way, he's a good, honest player.
Yeah.
the one with the challenge with Rashford, he did actually pick up a little knock there. And but basically he'd won the ball. He looked up, played it forward, played it away, moved on, and did his job. And when the ball was dead, he sort of like examined the bit where he got caught and a little sort of wince and all that. But he does the job. He gets on with it, and it's refreshing to see.
Okay, good stuff. 2 out of 2 for Declan Rice so far. He's only been nominated as man of the match once this season by KUMB's match reporter Chris Wilkerson. That for the 1-0 win at Sheffield United a couple of weeks ago on the 22nd of November. Pinky, are you going to make it a full house for Declan tonight, or is there someone else who caught your eye?
I think Bowen for his first half performance ran him close, but
yes,
it's a 90-minute game, isn't it? And although Gary Neville thinks otherwise because he gave it to Rashford for on the TV channel tonight, but yeah, you'd have to go with Declan Rice. I thought he was very, very good indeed this evening. Clearly had a tougher time when Bruno Fernandes came on, but that's only to be expected to some extent. But Rice was outstanding. He's a good player. He is clearly the jewel in the West Ham crown, and we all keep saying it. Will the chairman be tempted to cash in, citing poverty at some stage? And my own personal sneaking feeling is he did a deal with Rice when Rice signed his most recent contract, and that would have been give me one more full season, Declan, then I'll let you go. So I would expect to see Rice exit stage left in the summer, and then we'll be back to Watt. So, but tonight, no complaints for Rice. He did his job for West Ham United. Good performance, but it wasn't enough.
No, not quite. Unfortunately for the Hammers, I think it's I tend to agree with you guys. I think 45 minutes, Bowen, great shout. I thought, a couple of other outstanding performances. I thought Souček was superb in the first half, anonymous in the second. Bowen, brilliant first half, and then missed that opportunity, didn't he? Right at the start of the second half, from the Kufal cross in the 51st minute, when Kufal laid the ball across, and that was sort of the last notable contribution I think we saw from him. So I think definitely Declan Rice, an outstanding performer, and Gnome pointed it out at the time. We've spoken about it since that challenge on Greenwood on the edge of the box was just. The term is bandied around a lot, but it was world class. It really was, to hook the ball away. And, it's a bit like, again, we refer to it every now and again, but the Bobby Moore challenge in the 1970 World Cup against Brazil, very similar, sort of coming back and, hooking the ball away and just strolling away with the ball. But great stuff anyway from Declan Rice, and a not entirely disappointing night, I guess, for West Ham. But it's just a shame the second 45 minutes couldn't match the first. Pinky?
Well, on the XG you touched on earlier.
Yes, thank you.
This right. West Ham 2.53 to Man United 1.79.
Really?
Expected points, West Ham 1.88 to Manchester United 0.90. So you look at all the way through it. We battered them, except they got 3 goals, we got 1. It's one of those nights, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's almost in a way like Villa in reverse, isn't it? If you look at the stats for that one.
Yeah. So, but it's disappointing. We weren't disgraced, but we've said it several times now. Solskjaer had more options on his bench than Moyes had on his, and I fear for us a little bit this season, whereby it's going to turn into not quite a nothing season, but close to it, because we'll be miles too good for to be anywhere near the bottom 6.
Yeah,
and just a bit too far away from getting into that top 6, and we're gonna drift, unless we're careful, into the KUMB's boredom zone, where there'll be nothing on any game, can't go up, can't go down. We're just in that horrible bit in the middle, and I reckon come middle of February, that's where we could be.
Yeah, who can forget that season where West Ham hovered around 9th or 10th for the last 3 or 4 months? And I think We couldn't wait for the season to end, could we? Because, no challenge for Europe, no relegation battle. It was the most boring season we'd ever seen in our lives. But we probably would have hoped for a bit of that a few years since then. But anyway, there you go. There's the stats. XG, West Ham 2.53 to Man United's 1.79 expected goals. Just showing, how we did dominate for the first 45, 50 minutes. And, there you go. Just couldn't put the chances away. One of those nights, unfortunately, it just didn't happen. In the last two weeks, two matches, we've spoken about it already on the stream tonight. No, before I go on, say still nothing from Moyes. Doesn't look like we're going to get anything from him tonight.
I'm expecting it to. We're just going for a load of adverts at the moment, and
okay.
I'm expecting as soon as they go back, it'll be the next thing on the agenda. But
okay, we'll shout if it happens. Just dive in, just shout, and we'll get you in for that one. I was just going to say there. Last 2 weeks, we've seen two teams that are very, very much driven by one particular individual. Last week against Villa, it was Jack Grealish who was everywhere, ran the game, put us under extreme pressure. Tonight it was Bruno Fernandes who came on for Manchester United at halftime and changed the game. My question to the panel is this, and I'll start with you, Gnome, as you may have to shoot off very quickly. If you had to pick one of those to be in your team, Fernandes or Grealish, who would it be?
Me.
Yes.
Fernandes.
Yes, please. Okay. Any particular reason?
Two reasons. I think Fernandes is a better player for a kickoff.
Okay.
Secondly, which is a good start. Secondly, if a player who does what Grealish does signed for us, suddenly you'd find referees picking up on it. If he dived for us the way he did last week, he'd have picked up a yellow card. It would have. You just know it.
Yeah.
We don't get the rub of the green, and but Fernandes is a class above Grealish.
A shoe-in for Gnome, Bruno Fernandes. Pinky, what about yourself?
Fernandes all day long. Firstly, as Gnome rightly says, he's a better player. I mean, he's a slightly different kind of player, but he's a better player. And secondly, he plays for the team, and undoubtedly, he understands football as a team game. I think Jack Grealish, if you're going to look at him and say there's an element of it all being about him, and I suspect there's a bit of a very big fish in a very small pond at Villa, whereas Bruno Fernandes is doing it at one of the biggest clubs in the world, and doing it week in, week out.
Do you think Grealish would struggle, Pinky, if he moved to a club like Manchester United or Liverpool?
I don't think he's got the courage to do it.
Okay.
And I think that probably tells us deep down he knows he's not quite good enough to do it at those clubs. And who the hell am I to make that sort of comment about, someone who was clearly a top draw player, but I don't think he's quite in the class of the next level up, if you know what I mean. He'll be a superstar at Aston Villa, but that's an ordinary Aston Villa team.
Yeah.
Whereas Bruno Fernandes is the superstar at Manchester United, and there is a difference.
So in some ways, I guess you could perhaps liken him to, say, going back a while now, but someone like Matthew Le Tissier, who has, enjoyed particularly being a big fish in a small pond of their own local team. In a way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's a very good comparison, and maybe that's harsh on Grealish, but if he really wants to fulfil his potential, then he probably needs to back himself and say, do you know what? I'll go and try and be the main man at what is currently a bigger club. And I'm not being rude about Aston Villa there at the minute. But they were in the second division an awful lot more recently than Manchester United have been in the second division. And I don't see Manchester United weighing out 60-70 million pounds for Jack Grealish. Tottenham Hotspur might.
Yes.
They might.
Very much so. You can certainly see him going there, can't you, somewhere like that?
Yeah, and dare I say, it'd be a very Tottenham sort of player in a normal Tottenham team. I'm not convinced that Mourinho would quite indulge in it. though. So who knows? But certainly given the choice of the two, Fernandes every single time.
Good stuff. 2 for Fernandes, none for Grealish so far. Rio, going to offer us anything different, or do you agree with the guys?
No, I'm in complete agreement. Fernandes has come into that Man United side, a Man United side who was incredibly struggling last year. He's come in and revamped them.
Mm-hmm.
He's made them, as I said, he makes them tick. Without them, they look a poor side. And he does it without relying on the dark arts that Grealish does, you know?
Yeah.
You don't see Fernandes going to floor every 5 seconds. You don't see Fernandes screaming like a girl half the time, which, let's be honest, Grealish does all too often. He's a marvellous player, Grealish, but he's not in anywhere near the same league as Fernandes. But Fernandes makes, as Pinky rightly said, one of the biggest clubs in the world. He makes them tick. And without them, they're a poorer side. And this is a side that contains someone with the reputation and price tag of Paul Pogba, the known ability of Wayne Matter. And he makes both of them look poor. And if he's doing that, he's doing something right.
It's kind of ironic, isn't it, in a way that, you know, there's been a lot of talk in the week following when Diego Maradona sadly passed away, about diving and cheating and things like that. And, you know, the two players we're talking about here, Grealish, of course, being English. Leeds have just scored at Chelsea, by the way. They've taken the lead, which is quite interesting. Bamford, I think, scored there in the 4th minute. But yeah, it's quite ironic, isn't it, that, you know, Grealish, an English player, dives all over the place, and Fernandes just doesn't seem to need to resort to those tactics. Another Manchester United player we saw it from tonight. Gnome, was it? Who was it who died? Was it Greenwood or Rashford?
Greenwood, when the ball was
Greenwood.
played at the end of the box. He just threw himself to the floor. And Mario looked at him, made that little, get up.
Just
and
get
that
up.
annoyed me because that indicates that he saw what happened. Yeah. And if a player, it's simulation. If he does that, free kick and a yellow card. I mean, you know, why don't you do it? You know it's happened.
Yeah, very much so.
There's the law of the game. Get out in front of the box and come and explain it to us. Yeah. So we still no sign of it. They've just shown the highlights of the game. Okay. Still no sign of the post-match interview from Mr. Moyes. Right.
Well, it doesn't look like
it's been recorded, but we're just waiting for them to show it.
Okay. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get.
Went over to the Chelsea Leeds game, so we're having to wait in between all the sort of championship goals and other stuff.
All right. Well, perhaps we'll. It looks like we might have to miss out on Mr. Moyes' comments tonight, because I'm going to want to wrap up fairly shortly. But yeah, sorry, Rio. Just going back to that point, you know, a lot of fuss about foreign players being divers, and now we're seeing so many English players doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad indictment of our game where we used to be poor scorn or foreign talent coming in and doing it. It wasn't the English way. And we're seeing a bit of a reversal now. Whether it's the influence of all the continental players coming here, but it's almost as if it's been coached into the young English talent. And I really hate to see that.
Yeah. I'll tell you something about that in a minute. Yeah.
The likes of Grealish, James Maddison, they're immensely talented players.
Yeah.
They don't do themselves any favours by doing what they do.
So Rio, Jack Grealish, if he was at West Ham and, you know, he was carrying on that way, performing those sort of antics, do you think that our fan base would let him get away with it?
I don't think we would. I think we'd tolerate a certain level, but I can't. I know. I mean, Di Canio got targeted with a lot of accusations of diving, and he did go down a few times, but
it's true.
We saw a lot of times when he got absolutely hacked to pieces.
Yeah. Di Canio was never going to get a penalty after the Alcock incident, and
that's true.
We've got David Moyes now anyway, if you want to carry on, and I'll get back to
we'll come back to you in a minute now. That's perfectly timed. But yeah, so Rio, I mean, we saw Lanzini, didn't we, Rio? Charged by the FA a year or two back, and I seem to remember on the KUMB forum, he was getting pelters from from our members anyway, and I'm pretty sure that they were quite representative of everyone in the fan base. So it kind of makes you wonder.
No, I mean, it's something that I don't think West Ham fans tolerate, and even in like the kind of hours and needs, I'd rather see a player try to stay on his feet and do the honest thing. I just don't like it, full stop. And I especially don't like it when it creeps into young English talent. I mean, we mentioned Maddison, Grealish, we saw Greenwood tonight. You know, there's no need for it. There's absolutely no need for it. And as I said, I think it's been coached into them, and that is not the way to go forward. You know, you don't want to see that in the game. You know, I don't like seeing it abroad. And domestically, it's a no. I wouldn't tolerate a West Ham.
Pink, did you go along with that? Do you think Grealish might, have a few words in his ear from Hammers fans if he tried those sort of tricks? You know, were he here?
Yeah, I do, because I think we need to differentiate between a player who skillfully positions his body between the ball and the opponent to win a free kick, which is a legitimate tactic. You know, if you're fouled, you're fouled. It gets a bit tedious after a while, but there is a place for it in the game. Mark Noble is very good at that, for sure.
I was just going to say, you're thinking of Noble there, because
Noble would do that. Teddy Sheringham was always another player who was, someone that would use that. But that's different to diving. Diving is an attempt to deliberately con the ref.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so there's not skill involved. It's just cheating, and let's call it what it is. And then we saw an example last week from Jack Grealish where there wasn't a West Ham United player anywhere near him. Okay, in fact, they were so far away, even I would have been allowed to attend the game. That's how far away from the players. Okay? All right, and he went down clutching his leg. Now, to me, and I said it last week, there should have been some kind of retrospective action. But had he been a West Ham United player doing that, I'd have given him exactly the same stick, because I don't want to see that. You know, winning by cheating, that's not winning. That's not winning. And I actually don't go along with this thing about it was the foreign lads that used to do it all the time and we never used to. I think there's been plenty of it in the English game for an awful long time, from English and Scottish and Irish and Welsh players. Yeah. But the worrying thing for me now is it isn't getting called out. Jack Grealish should have been on the back pages of every national newspaper last week, getting caned. And I said it last week, I'd like to see Southgate leave him out of the next two England squads, just to say, do you know what? I don't care how clever you think you are, young Jack, but that isn't football. And youngsters will look at him and think, well, that's how you play. That's how you play to get to play for England, by cheating.
Yeah,
not for me. And I don't think our supporters would tolerate it to any significant degree. That's not us. We're better than that.
I think it's admirable. It would be admirable for him to do it, but I just can't see Southgate ever in the bottle to do something like that. It's just, I think that's just the way football is. Talking about, you mentioned how it's been going on for a long time here. Was it not Franny Lee who admitted to diving in the 1970s for penalties?
Yeah, he took them as well. The joke was there was a Chinese international playing for Manchester City or Derby called Lee Wan Pen, and was the running joke at the time. I said Mr. Moyes was coming on. Basically, they just showed a clip of him talking about the offending goal.
Okay.
He said it was definitely out. It was above my head and behind me. He said everybody knew it on the pitch. You could tell by the players' reaction. He said the linesman wasn't looking. Why VAR didn't spot it? He just didn't know. But he was not happy because the game changed on that. There's obviously a fuller interview on there, but they're not showing it at the moment. So if I can just chip in on the diving debate.
Please do.
Rio mentioned clubs coaching players for this, and this is a long while ago, but I saw West Ham playing Liverpool's kids, over at Rush Green, talking 15 years ago, maybe even longer. And a Liverpool player went into the box and went and no, he didn't go down. He stayed on his feet. And there was a West Ham player near him, and it was sort of side by side. But he just ran out of space and pulled out. The Liverpool coach did his nut. There was a running argument on the side of the pitch because he said, "Yeah, what did I tell you?" And he says, "Yeah, why don't you go down?" And he said, "Well, he never touched me." And he says, "What's that got to do with it?" That's not what we teach you at this club. And I'm thinking, well, there's your sort of source. I mean, I mentioned this briefly the other week. Liverpool's travails in Europe, they saw what was going on there. They kind of imported it. It's not just foreign players. Gerrard, I mean, even Dalglish was a fine player that everyone says he was known to be very unbalanced when the occasion merited it. And it's something that they clearly do instill at a youth level, which I just hate to see. As to the ongoing thing, if Grealish was doing it for us, well, when Lanzini won that penalty, I called him out for it, and I'll continue to do so. It's not something I want to see at my club. Now, that may be the difference between us and other clubs. I remember having an argument with, and I'm sorry if I'm picking on Liverpool, but they're probably amongst the worst. But the debate was, first, if my player goes down like that, I'm going to call him out. Your average Liverpool supporter will firstly say, "Oh, there was contact," or they'll try and prove black is white, and as Douglas Adams put it, get run over at the next zebra crossing. But they'll firstly say it was a penalty, and then when you say, "Look, palpably it wasn't," they then move on to, "Well, everyone does it. Why shouldn't we?" And it's like, no, everyone doesn't do it. And you'd have to go. You'd wait a million years before some clubs' supporters would admit that they've got a diving problem with a player or two players. I'd like to think we're better than that. Sure, you'll get some who say, "Oh, everyone else does it." I don't want that at my club.
No, I think you're right, Gnome. I think we are better than that, and I think we would rather see our team lose than resort to cheating in such a fashion to win, and that's borne out by everything that you guys are saying here tonight. And as I say, I'm sure that's pretty typical.
I can't talk for anybody else. I'm just talking for me. I think it's disgusting. I don't want to see players doing it. The Di Canio, you mentioned Di Canio, a couple of times, but he was fouled and didn't get the free kick more times than he dived and did.
But isn't that what's going to happen to Grealish? No, in the same way as it's the case for Zaha at Palace. I
hope Grealish is a marked man now from referees. I hope that they're going to say, balance of probabilities, he's a diver. It wouldn't get to that if they did their job in the first place. But I hope that they start ignoring stuff that happens on him because it's Grealish. Well, I'm not sure, but let's face it, I'm more likely to be right if I don't give him a free kick or a penalty there than I do. It serves him right.
Okay.
You can't complain if you go dive like that all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Gavin McGrath. Pinky?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd like someone to get a hold of Grealish and just show him YouTube clips of George Best having to beat 6 players, all of whom they weren't trying to tackle him, they were trying to maim him. They were trying to cause him physical harm in an era when you could get away with a lot more. And did he resort to diving?
No,
I don't think the greats resort to diving. The greats prove the great by beating the opposition who are trying to maim them with skill, with courage, with verve. And if Grealish wants to be seen as a top draw player, he needs to take all that sort of theatrics out of his repertoire because it'll destroy his reputation. And I don't think top draw managers are impressed by it, let alone supporters.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Well, interesting debate about diving, and I think we've come to the conclusion that at West Ham it's not something we ever really want to see. I say we're only, as Gnome said, we're only speaking for ourselves, but I'd like to think that, you know, we're pretty typical of the West Ham fan base as a whole in that sense. So we'll see how that develops for Jack Grealish. Who knows? Hopefully he'll cut it out and go on to become a decent England player. But Pinky's absolutely right. No, Rio, you know, the greats have never needed to resort to that. They just play the game and you know, beat the opposition that way. We're going to wrap up very, very soon. Before we do, there's one more topic I wanted to discuss. We sort of touched on them a few minutes ago. They're actually playing at the moment. Leeds are playing at Chelsea tonight. They're 1-0 up. Bamford scored in the 4th minute. Which would be a huge shock if they went on to win that one, but perhaps not such a shock given the way Leeds play. And they are, of course, our next opponents. We travel to Ellen Road next weekend for our first match against Leeds for ages. Couldn't tell you exactly when. I'll find out in a minute. But Friday, we're up there this Friday for that one. Gnome, I'll come to you first on this one, buddy. Going to be a tough test for the Hammers. Leeds looking, without doubt, the strongest of the 3 promoted teams. That's evident, you know, from what we're seeing tonight at Stamford Bridge. But how do you see that one going? Is that a game that, you know, we think we can benefit from, given the way Leeds play? Perhaps
they'll probably be the toughest opponents we've had for a while. Notwithstanding, I mean, because they'll be a decent side for 90 minutes, unlike today's opponents, for example. I think it's going to be a tough one. I'd be happy with a draw from it. Mm-hmm. And thank you for reminding me it's Friday, because I just had it in my head it wasn't. It's going to be a tough one. I haven't seen an awful lot of them, but the reports on them, you see them winning well, but you also see then if there are a few odd results. I mean, it's been a strange season for everyone, isn't it? So I'm not sure what they are in the league. I'm just trying to find out. But it's going to be a tough one. They're exactly mid-table. Actually, they're on the same points as we are, aren't they? They're just behind us on goal difference. They've got a -1 goal difference. As it stands, anyway. That's the as it stands table. So, so they were on 14 points before tonight's game started. Tough one. I'll be happy with the draw up there, to be honest.
Yeah, fair. I think it's definitely going to be a tough game. For the record, the last time we played Leeds, well, can anyone tell me? Anyone remember off the top of your heads? No.
I cheated and looked it up.
I know. You've cheated. Okay. You're disqualified then, Mr. Palermo. We'll tell you. I think Pinky, wasn't it Ravel Morrison's debut?
It may well have been. I haven't looked it up in that much detail. But
okay,
that's 2-1.
We played Leeds last in the Championship, actually. So, for my money, I'm actually looking forward to seeing them, seeing that, and again with no away supporters going anywhere. A trip to Ellen Road would have been probably one of the highlights of the season, because those of us of a certain age group will always refer to them, of course, as dirty Leeds. But in absolute credit to Marcelo Bielsa, I think he's put a team together that plays with a certain attacking intent, with some style, a lot of pace, a lot of energy, and I think he's trying to play good football. And hats off to him for that. And I think it'll be a very good game indeed. I think they've got enough about them going forward to cause us problems at the back. But equally, I think if they've got a frailty, it's at their defence. They leave themselves a bit open. So if we can get Antonio fit in time for it, who knows? But I'm looking forward to the game. I'd go with a West Ham United win, because I think 2 relatively evenly matched teams, I'd always back our own lads. But I quite like them. You know, I've seen them play 2 or 3 times now this season in full, and they're okay. They're okay. They're not mugs, but Bielsa, he chases the win, and I think that'll end up costing him points. He's almost the complete opposite of Sam Allardyce, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a very good point. I like that. Do you think perhaps, Pinky, that this could be an opportunity for Benrahma to make his first start? Think there's any chance of that?
Actually, I don't think there's any chance of that. I genuinely don't, because he did a few bits and pieces tonight, but again, there was a moment he tried to flick, just gave the ball away. I don't think he's a player that David Moyes trusts. I think, then maybe I'm completely wrong, but I have the impression that Moyes wanted a different footballer at the club. The chairman, because of the influence of a particular agent, wanted Benrahma, and the chairman only looks at one half of the field. It's, us going forward. I'm not sure he completely understands the game, and that actually the balance of the team can be affected massively by just one change. And for me, I don't think David Moyes is going to trust Benrahma as a starting player anytime soon. I just don't see it.
Okay, so Fornell's still in the team for you then?
Oh, absolutely.
Next week up at Ellen Road. Good stuff. Good stuff. Before I come on to you, Rio, Simon Osborne's just pointed out, made a very good observation. We were talking about players, quality players getting battered by the opposition, and he makes the reference to Pele in 1966. Of course, was kicked out of the competition and was unable to finish it. So, a very good observation, Simon. Thank you for dropping that one in there. Rio, Leeds. Gnome's gone for a draw.
No, that was a thumbs up for Simon's comment. No,
thank you.
I've still got McDonald's adverts, and are we ready for reindeer? And to which my answer is venison. But anyway, carry on.
Scott Parker still.
Do you know the adverts? Is he still doing adverts? Did you say?
Yeah,
he's still doing adverts. No,
he could probably get away with it, couldn't he?
We've got colour telly now, so
well, you might have.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're still too mean to pay for the full license, aren't you?
Very much so.
Interesting. While we're going off on complete tangents, I was at a venison farm today talking about venison. It was like one of those pick your own. You actually drive past the deer, and you can. It's almost like a lobster in a restaurant. You point and say, "I want that one," and they'll bonk it on the head for you and send it to you via home delivery the next day. Life in the East Midlands there for you folks. A little taste of it for those of you that never venture this far north. Rio, coming to you finally on this point. Going to be a tough game next week. You think, the Gnome and Pinky have pointed out, the frailties and also the benefits of playing the Bielsa system. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, no, it's going to be probably, as Gnome said, it's probably our toughest game of the ones we've got coming up. They play with such an intensity and such high fitness levels. You've got to worry about our squad because we're so threadbare and we're relying on the core of 14 or 15 players to get us through. And it wasn't that long ago that our squad's fitness levels were, let's put it this way, appalling. Bielsa's got this well-drilled Leeds side who he makes work like dogs. And they're running their legs off still in the 95th minute. So you've got to worry about that. That's my biggest fear. Eventually this run of games we're having with such a small pool of talent at our disposal, it's going to catch up with us. Mm-hmm. But, there's no reason we can't go up there and get a result. I just worry about the intensity and the way that they play.
Well, we've spoken about, Pinky waxed lyrical about Bielsa, his strengths and disadvantages. Do you think he'd be the perfect manager for West Ham?
He'd be the perfect manager for our support. We'd love him. We'd love the way that he plays. He wouldn't do much cop in the way of hospital admissions at this time because we'd be having absolute heart attacks every week, But I'd absolutely love him, but he needs someone who's going to back him a little bit and have faith. I don't think. Do I go back into the ownership thing? Yeah, I don't think our owners will tolerate. tolerate it at all. I think he's too strong-willed.
Too much for Maverick.
Very much so. And, you know, we haven't seen him when the chips are going down yet in British football. And we all know that at West Ham, the chips will go down at some point. You know, and it'd probably be a lot quicker than it would be at Leeds at the moment. So, yeah, I love the way that he plays, the ethos of his footballing world. I just don't think that our ownership and the Premier League would go hand in hand and making him welcome in London.
It's the way he pulled young Frank's pants down when Lampard was the manager at Derby County, and the Spygate scandal of, you know, they've watched us training, and his subsequent press conference where he basically gave a PowerPoint presentation pointing out that they watch every other team, hundreds of matches, they analyse every game to death. And he made Lampard look about as if he was in charge of a Sunday league team in terms of this is what you do kind of thing. I mean, I don't think it's a big case of our chairman putting up with him. I think he wouldn't put up with our chairman. I can't actually imagine a player arriving from Brentford with Bielsa as the manager and him entertaining it even for a second. And maybe, you know, that's not calling out David Moyes. Moyes has learned a degree of diplomacy, I'm sure, around our chairman. And there'll be things going on that he won't like. But he'll just let it ride for now. Bielsa, I think, if a player turned up he didn't want, I suspect he's a volatile enough character just to say, I'm off. And so I think our supporters would love him. I think the chairman might hate him. And it's one of those.
Gnome, how would you fancy a Bielsa Di Canio dream team as management? Imagine that.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Well, for about 5 minutes, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it wouldn't last, would it? Because, as I say, I mean, I've been in the company of Mr. Moyes on a number of occasions, as you'll be aware, and you know, whatever you think about him as a manager and all that, he seems a genuine, fairly laid back. Tonight, when they showed the little clip of him complaining about that, it was as annoyed as I've ever seen him, and it was still calm and polite, and just had a look on his face. Now, so when he has to put up with some of the more unusual actions of our ownership, shall we say, I guess he knows how to sort of cope with it and make the best of, and calmly sort of where he can reject things. Bielsa and Di Canio, the first meeting with Sullivan, I could see going pear-shaped and us looking for another two. It wouldn't last 5 minutes. They wouldn't just stand for stuff. I don't think the word diplomatic is in either of their dictionaries, shall we say. You've only got to look at what Di Canio says, and he says what he thinks, and if people don't like that, then well, tough. That's what he thinks. So it'd be fun for about 10 minutes, but
who knows what the future holds anyway? For now, we
all need mavericks and stuff in football, but you also need a bit of stability, and I think that when Moyes goes, eventually, I think the likelihood is that we'll be in a slightly more stable, well, maybe not slightly, but more stable, better position than when he arrived. If Bielsa and Di Canio were there, would you really think that? I mean, just thinking of them, it'd be fun, but it's like a decent party, real fun. But there's a hell of a mess to clear up afterwards.
Certainly would. Perfectly described, and a great way to end tonight's broadcast. Davy Moyes, of course, there isn't a vacancy right now because Davy Moyes, despite tonight's defeat, Yeah, I mean, doing it. I think we're all in agreement. Davy Moyes is doing a good job there, and it's nice to discuss these things anyway. But unfortunately, couldn't quite manage to pull out another win against Manchester United tonight. Would have been West Ham's fourth consecutive win. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. We took the lead after 38 minutes through Thomas Souček. Should have scored again, shouldn't we? Hilaire should have scored. Bowen should have scored. We had chance after chance. And then 3 goals in the space of just 16 second half minutes for Manchester United turned the game on its head and condemned the Hammers to our first defeat since going down at Liverpool a few weeks ago. It's a defeat that leaves West Ham in 7th place in the table, which I'm sure we would have all taken at this point in the season. And we've been offered that, when we looked at our fixture list at the start of the season. But there it is, defeat. But we're not too demoralised. It was a decent, outstanding, I think, first half performance. I think we'd agree from the Hammers. And the wheels just came off in the second half. But, when you look back at the season so far, it's been pretty good stuff so far. And let's just hope we can get back to our best form and football at Leeds this coming Friday night. My thanks to my team tonight. That's Rio, the Pink Palermo, to Gnome, and of course also to Charlie, who joined us from the ground live before, during and after tonight's game, so we could all get a taste of what it's like to be a fan at the Olympic Stadium when there's only 2,000 people there. So our big thanks to Charlie for coming on the stream and showing us a few shots of the stadium. That's it for tonight. It's a lie-in for me tomorrow morning because there's no opposition view to do. I don't do them when we lose. It's no fun, is it? You can't take the mickey out of the opposition fans. So I'm going to have a lie-in, and I suggest you all do anyway. But we'll be back next Friday for West Ham United versus Leeds. We'll all be here because none of us are going to get tickets because you can't get tickets for away fans, of course. So that's about it for tonight. So disappointing night for West Ham, but let's hope we can come back next week with a win. And we're not all despondent and disappointed, are we? Look at all these happy faces around me. Look, we're all over the moon. You can't win them all, I guess. Come on, you Irons.
Hey, Irons.
Come on, you.